Chaplain, please.
Thought I'd clear something up. I saw Greg Carr the other day, our lead chaplain. I am not him. Just thought I'd clear that up real quick. I know he comes at the end of the month, but don't tell him I said that.
Well, Greg, you've lost weight.
Exactly. Let's stand and let's pray, and then we'll say the pledge. Father God, we just come before you today. We just so grateful for the incredible rain that we had over the weekend, and I pray, God, that you just be with all those that are out there doing all this construction work on our roadways. We pray that they get it in before the winter hits, and I know there's a lot to be done, so we just pray for protection. I pray for our first responders out there. We're always grateful for them and what they do. Be with this meeting tonight. Be with all these commissioners. I pray that they listen to what needs to be done for our county. And we do this all in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll call the October 6th, 2025 meeting of the Burleigh County Park Board to order. First item is roll call of members.
Commissioner Herman.
Here.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Here.
Commissioner Munson.
Here.
Commissioner Schwab.
Here.
Commissioner Boehm.
Here.
Chairman Bittner.
Here.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yeah, Bakken's here.
I was reading it, I just skipped it.
Approval of the agenda. Commissioners,
Move to approve. Second.
motion is second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Boehm.
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Consideration of September 15th, 2025 meeting minutes. Commissioners,
Mr. Chair, I've read them and move to approve.
Second.
motion is second to approve the meeting minutes. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Boehm.
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is public comment. This is restricted to Burleigh County residents and landowners. There will be a time limit. We'd ask that you restrict the comments at this time to the county park board. Does anybody have any public comments to offer for the park board? Does anybody have any public comments for the park board? Third and final call. Does anybody have any public comments for the park board? We'll close the public comment section. Move on to Kimball Bottom's feasibility study. Who wants to lead off with that?
Mr. Chair, we brought this back in front of the group during our budgeting conversations. You had requested that this comes back. You wanted to read the lease and
Yep.
and see what the options were that we had, and so I asked for it to be brought back.
Okay, I did read the lease, and I don't see much by way of options.
No.
So,
The only option I found was giving it back and reclaiming it,
right, which would lead us to the same conclusion. as
and
far
cost
as-
us the same amount of money
Yeah,
as
so it's not a
estimates,
Yeah,
so.
that's pretty much true.
So the question I would have is, does the commission want us to move forward with the permitting side and getting hard numbers for budget, for costs? And maybe I should just make that a motion.
You should, almost should, because I'm not seeing an option.
Right, right,
I mean,
so,
you know, it's our, I think we're on the hook for it.
yep. I would move that we ask our engineer to move forward with the permitting and the bidding of that project for Kimball Bottoms. The one question, I'll make that as a motion, and we'll go for a conversation.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further conversation.
Mr. Schwab has?
Commissioner Schwab.
I'm looking at this picture here, you say reclamation. Is that all asphalt laying on the bank?
Correct.
Looks like it.
Well, next spring, that bank may not be there, because I doubt if they're gonna be able to do anything this year
Right.
anymore.
We're at a 2-year process just for getting permits for this process. The last couple years, we've done the dredging down there. The excavator's been kind enough to help us out and get that asphalt out as much as he can get. But that's been a concern of the Corps every year. But we do keep removing it as much as we possibly can.
All right.
In the study, there was 2 different or 3 different levels of how high to bring it up. We kind of had a low, a medium, and a high level. Cost obviously associated with that. That it's so big it can't be in this packet. The recommendation from the group that met prior was, not go to the high mark, because that's a 500-year mark, 100-year mark. But we felt the next level down for that roughly $3 million was what was good for us. And that, do you want to just come back up and give us
Summarize that. We
those
got
summary?
Different people viewing and what.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. Nick Cullen, Houston Engineering. I was not prepared to speak this evening, so I apologize, Commissioner Munson. So you have 2 options. The first one is the 100-year elevation, which goes up to the top of bank. We had our 2011 flood that well exceeded that. And then we have the core reference plane, which is approximately 36,000 CFS. And that was $800,000 less than the top bank protection. Now, you could choose anywhere in between, but our recommendation at Houston was to do the 100-year to the top of bank. However, that is above the minimum requirements that the Corps will establish, and it will save you $800,000 if you go less.
What impact would that decision have on the permitting? It shouldn't have any.
It shouldn't have an impact in terms of permitting.
So we can make that decision later on,
Absolutely.
depending on the funding. So the question is, just get going on the permitting.
Absolutely, and
Permitting and fundraising, or the grant applications to all
Sure.
the different agencies. Our goal is to get 50% of this paid by other agencies, not just all Burleigh County cash. But that's a lot of work on Houston's part to get all of those applications out. So I would amend my motion to include the grant applications as well.
I would amend my second accordingly.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Commissioner Van.
What is the urgency that the Corps has in all of this matter?
The Corps has been sending us requests to have this done for the last several years.
Strongly worded requests.
The last one got a little more strong, and so it's time. We need to get back to the Corps with our plan ASAP. So I think the Corps has been, and Dave will answer this question better than I, but we keep removing as much asphalt as we can, and the Corps appreciates that, but we still need a long-term solution. So.
I don't think that's an unreasonable request either. I guess we don't know if we're doing dredging again in the spring, but obviously if we are, we'd be looking at removing some additional asphalt. Commissioner Woodcutt?
Before we vote on this, where did you get your shirt with that big Indy issue? We got a guy over here that puts his cup out here with the fighting, whatever they are, hawks. So I like your shirt.
No, that's not.
Thank you.
All right, let's don't bother answering that. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion related to this? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Boehm.
Yes.
Commissioner Herman.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Any other business for the Burleigh County Park Board at this time? Seeing none, I'll adjourn the Burleigh County Park Board. Thank you, gentlemen.
Is Garrison's version part of the ending? Yes, they are.
You want that?
Well, we ought to be in line for a chunk.
Yeah, I would think.
They were on the report that Nick sent out there. One of the items.
Thank you.
I don't want to hear this 2,800 from them or something. Okay. We give them 700 grand and we cap out at 50?
I think that
that right?
Yes, it is.
It was.
What an astonishing return on investment there, guys.
I just hope that that money that we contributed to Garrison Diversion not being diverted to the Fargo Water Project, because if it is, that's even more of a thorn on our side, I would think.
Well, we don't know where it's going. But like I said, we give them $700,000
Yeah, every-
roughly a year, probably more than that now. And we're capped out at 50 as far as a grant for a project in this county.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, what a waste. Okay, no more about that.
Should've just said I don't know.
I'm going to call the October 6th, 2025 meeting of the Burleigh County Commission to order. First item is roll call of members.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Here. Next is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve?
Second?
Motion second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Consideration of the September 15th, 2025 meeting minutes and bills. Commissioner Schwab, I think you did the bills.
I did the bills, and I have one that I want to discuss, but we have to pay it, but in other business, we'll do that. And I looked the minutes over, and they look like we did our job last time, so I move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes and the bills. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 5, public comment. This is restricted to Burleigh County residents and landowners. There may be time limit applied. Does anybody wish to speak during the public comment section on items that are not on the agenda? Once again, does anybody want to speak public comment for items not on the agenda? Third and final call, any public comment? Thank you. I'll close the public comment period and move on to the consent agenda. Commissioners, there's abatements for your consideration.
Move to approve?
Second?
A motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next is Sheriff Lieben. We've got a couple items, North Dakota DOT grant and a Police Youth Bureau agreement. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Both items just basically housekeeping. Every year we sign a Police Youth Bureau grant contract with Bismarck and Bismarck Police Department. Auditor Splinskowski has that. Basically, we fund one salary of a police youth worker, and for that, we get the services of the Police Youth Bureau. Very straightforward, been going on forever. And I believe Mark has that paperwork. That'll need to be signed by him and Chair Bittner. That's the first item I have. If you want to cover them both in one motion, I'm okay with that.
We can do them separate.
Okay.
I would move to approve.
Second?
Okay, this is a motion and a second to approve the Police Youth Bureau agreement.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the next item is the 2025-2026 Department of Transportation Traffic Safety Grant. Again, this is a yearly thing. I come before you. We budget for the overtime we receive from Department of Transportation in the areas of traffic safety, speed, seatbelt, distracted driving, and impaired driving. The total budget is $24,680. That one would be need to be signed electronically by Chair Bittner, Commissioner Bakken, and Auditor Splinskowski.
Move to approve?
Second?
A motion second to approve, and I just called that contract up on my screen. We did talk about this ahead of
Yes.
time. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank
I'll go ahead and get that signed.
One other
Commissioner
thing,
Bakken.
Kelly, I want to commend you and your staff. I know
when we had the bridge shut down last week with that accident with the tractor that was on there. I saw quite a few Burleigh County Sheriff's deputies doing their job, so a lot of traffic rerouting. I don't think there was a part of town that was not impacted by that, so with that bridge closure. So I think that also underscores another point of contention is accessibility trying to traverse the river in Burleigh and Morton counties as well. But kudos to your staff and your deputies for really weighing in on that and doing a good job.
Much thanks. I'll pass it on. Thank
Okay,
you.
that contract is signed on my behalf, so whoever else needs to sign it.
Perfect.
Should go ahead and do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, next item is County Engineer Hall. We got 4 items: authorization to advertise for bids, developer waiver request, annual fee schedule, and township maintenance agreement. Welcome, Marcus.
Good evening, Commissioners. The first item I have on the agenda is part of the approved 2026 county budget. The Highway Department had requested the purchase of 3 new motor graders. These motor graders will be purchased under the 5-year total cost bid with a guaranteed repurchase price at the end of the 5-year period. In order for us to get ahead of the increases that always come at the end of the year and to start the process, because it takes quite a while to get these motor graders into our fleet, we'd like to start the advertising process at this point. There is a proposed resolution in your packet. I would recommend approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the authorization to advertise for bids. Any further discussion? Call the vote.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Under the next item, under the current pavement policy, we required developers to pave adjacent section line roads and construct and replace at least one roadway that connects to the existing paved road system. We've gotten a request in Burke Creek Township from SPLJ LLP. There is a couple maps in your packet that will show you the location of that. This particular group is proposing a 5-lot subdivision right on 26th Street, just north of 123rd. They have just started the process as far as the platting process goes, and generally speaking, they like to see if the waiver is going to pass before they continue on with the platting process. So the one thought with this, just so you know, they are not proposing any internal roadways, so they will be required to do adjacent lots will have to have shared driveways. We require that as part of the process to limit the number of access points onto our highway system. So as part of that, as always, there are 2 resolutions, or 1 resolution in your packet, but basically 2 steps, basically to state we'd like to go forward with this, allow them to do the platting process. However, this does not eliminate from, at some point in the future, them being responsible for helping to pay for that pavement.
So Marcus, how many access points will there be for those shared lots?
I believe at this point, we were looking at 3 access
3?
points.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second
Is
to
that
approve.
both resolutions or just both?
Both of them, yeah.
Amend to both. Yep.
Okay, motion and a second to approve both. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
the next item on the agenda is the Highway Department is seeking approval of the 2026 Highway Department fees. This fee schedule we like to put together as quickly as we can in order to get that out to the township so they can start reviewing it. And if they have any questions, they can get back to us. On this particular fee schedule, there's two really main points that always get changed every year, or at least looked at. One is the maintenance fees with the townships. Okay, so back in the 22-23 winter, we had a lot of snow at that time. We did get reimbursement from the state at that. The townships in the county kind of made agreement at that point that we would leave our fees with the township the same for 3 years. This will be the last of those 3 years in 2026. So at this point, we're proposing no changes from the fee schedule that they have currently. In addition to that, as part of the state law, we're required to readjust individual equipment rates. The state basically gives us those rates. That's not something that we adjust. We just tell them these are the pieces of equipment that we have, and they give us the rates. So that is the resolution. The fees are included in your packet. There's a proposed resolution. I'd recommend approval. Happy
Move
to
to
answer
approve.
any questions.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the annual fee schedule. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries. Go ahead.
The last item I have is every year the Burleigh County Highway Department enters into an agreement with the townships on road maintenance. And this basically clarifies the rules and responsibilities of each party. This agreement has been used for about 10 years plus, pretty much unchanged in those 10 years. There are two resolutions that I'd like you to approve. The first is as the county board and approving entering into the agreement as the county board with each of the townships out there. And then the second one is as unorganized township supervisors agreeing to enter into an agreement with the county. So there's two resolutions, and that would require you adjourning and then coming back in as the unorganized townships. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions, commissioners?
Can we do all of the unorganized at one time, or do we have to do it?
Yeah, we can do all the
individually?
unorganized at one time.
Yep.
Just need two separate ones for the townships and then the unorganized townships.
I'd move we approve the unorganized townships resolution.
We have to
We have to-
open
Oh, we have
up.
to adjourn, I'm
You
sorry,
have to
did we
adjourn,
adjourn?
so, yep. Move to approve the county side of your resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anybody from any townships want to appear to have any input on the township road agreements? Anybody from the townships? Third call, anybody from the townships? Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries. We'll temporarily adjourn as the Burleigh County Commission, and we'll convene as the unorganized township of supervisors.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Woodcock. So, call the roll.
Oh,
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox?
yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Here.
Chairman Bittner?
Same here.
Now I would like to approve the unorganized townships road agreement.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the unorganized township agreement. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries. We'll adjourn as the unorganized township supervisors and reconvene as the Burleigh County Commission. Marcus, I have something for you. This is a late-breaking thing. Is Mitch in the room also?
Yep.
Okay, would you and Mitch take a look at this and get it back to me before other business? It's late-breaking thing, but there's a deadline of October 10th for responding.
We'll
Thank you.
deal with it doing other business.
Other business.
Okay.
Okay, next item is number 9, Auditor Splonskowski. Establishment of minimum sales price for property acquired by the county through tax deed proceedings, non-payment of real estate taxes, approval of the 2026 meetings calendar, and a North Dakota Secretary of State memorandum of understanding. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, Chairman and Commissioners, so I guess we can just take this one at a time. At this time every year, we have all the different properties that are on our delinquent tax sale list. Is required by state law for the commission to approve the minimum sales price that is allowed to be accepted for each of those individual properties. So we can communicate with the tax director and base it on what they owe in specials and in back taxes in order to establish a minimum amount that we'll be willing to accept on these properties.
Okay, Commissioners,
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcock.
why does Burleigh County have a couple of them on there? What are those?
So those are properties that went to tax sale and did not sell, and so they default to the county.
Probably something like stormwater ponds and different
Yep.
things that we got
They're
stuck
for
with.
sale for $1?
Yep. properties that, yeah, like Chairman Bittner said, or they're completely covered with easements, or they have so much in specials that it's not worth buying.
In other words, dead weight.
I move we approve the list.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minimum sales list. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Second one is the approval of 2026 meetings calendar. So we went ahead and spoke with the city to try to lock these down prior to your approval, just to make sure that they are indeed available. You'll notice that there is one date in there. Let me try to pull it up here. We had to push it all the way to a Thursday, September 10th, because it conflicted. On Monday, there's a holiday, and they have meetings on Tuesday and Wednesday, but they were able to get us on Thursday. So other than that, it's relatively typical. Now, also, what you might notice is that the budget hearing on prior years, you would notice that that would be held at 8 a.m. That has been now changed to 5 p.m. as requested.
Good.
So are we good on Thursday, September 10th? Or would we want to have an earlier in the week meeting and move the time up? Say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? Or do you, Thursday?
No, I'd be okay either way myself.
Yeah, I don't
have any
I'm just
issue.
throwing it out there as an option that
Doesn't bother me.
if we want, if the calendar looked like we needed to get something done a little bit earlier in the week. Because Thursday kind of throws the
Yeah,
regular pacing
yeah.
off a little bit, so
Right.
that was just my
Yes,
only
there's-
thought on it. I'm good either way,
Move
but
it to
that was
Tuesday
just,
then. Move it to Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday.
Right.
right. So if we did Tuesday at 2 or.
Ask the auditor
or
to
something,
check to see if we
is that
have
an
time
option, or-
available.
We can check to see what times are available, and if you want, you can approve this whole calendar except for that one, and then I can come back and,
Okay.
and shoot you some times and dates that work.
I would move to approve that with the September 10th date tentative.
Second.
In limbo.
Okay, motion and a second. And the auditor will get back to us on that. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
And then the final one is the North Dakota Secretary of State Memorandum of Understanding. So if you read that in your packet, it's basically that essentially we agree to run the election in coordinates with the Secretary of State's office.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the memorandum of understanding. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Mark, one other
Go ahead,
question.
Commissioner Bachman.
Tentative election sites, what are we looking at for a number of election sites?
I believe we have 18 election sites. In fact, one of them, which I'm very excited about, we were able to switch Hillside Aquatic Center. Had many issues. We had accessibility issues and all that kind of stuff with that particular property. So we were actually able to move that one, and that'll be before you guys for your approval here in December. We're moving that over to Bismarck Baptist, which is only a few blocks away, and it's a very, very good,
Very accessible.
very accessible.
So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Finance Director, Interim Treasurer Jacobs, we got budget amendment for Sheriff's Department repairs and maintenance and Burleigh County vendor policy. Welcome, Lee.
Good evening, Chair Bittner and Commissioners. The first item is a budget amendment for the Sheriff's repairs and maintenance line item. Basically, the backstory there is that we received a grant for a generator. So the generator's been installed and the grant money's been received. In the past, when we had these kinds of transactions where there was an expenditure that was fully covered by a grant, we sort of treated it as a non-happening. So we would book the expense and then we would reverse it. And that's fine for our bottom line. That's not going to impact our bottom line to do that. But one of the things that we're trying to do is improve our data environment, and that includes getting an understanding of grant-funded grant revenues, grant-funded expenditures, and that type of thing. So with this particular transaction, we booked both sides of it. So we booked the expenditure and the revenue. And so what that did is that pretty much blew the sheriff's budget for that line item. And again, it's a tax-neutral amendment because the expenditure is totally paid for by a grant. So what we're asking with the proposed resolution is to amend the sheriff's repairs and maintenance budget by adding $47,550. Again, that's not going to increase the tax levy. It's just a mechanism to provide for better accounting data.
Right. Just to repeat, that's 2025
Correct.
budgets, okay. I don't see any problem with that, Commissioners.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Jeez. You guys want to get out of here? A motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Go ahead.
The second item is relating to a vendor policy. One of the other things we're doing is we are assembling an accounting manual. And one of the places we'd like to start is with the accounts payable. And so what we did is we reviewed the vendor terms and the county's payment practices. And we think there's two policies we could adopt that would increase our efficiency, reduce our, maybe our legal liability a little tiny bit, and then would also earn us some additional interest revenue. So the first policy change we're requesting is, or the first policy change is to request net 30 terms from vendors. So that means that we would have 30 days from the invoice date to pay the bill. So some of our vendors' terms require us to pay upon presentation. That's not really possible for us because we have to bring it back to this board. And so we're kind of late in those cases. And I think our vendors understand that, and none of them have complained. We haven't gotten any late fees or anything like that, but this would just be, I just think this would be easier, more transparent, and it would give us a little bit of liability protection in the sense that we would be within the terms of the invoice. The second policy change would be to strongly encourage the use of electronic payment from us to our vendors. So we would encourage our vendors to accept electronic payment from us. And so currently, we're in the habit of paying bills every 2 weeks. So it's just the cycle, and we're not really paying attention to when the invoice is actually due. It's just commission approves the bills, we stuff envelopes, we pay the bills. And so I had asked staff, and by the way, this wasn't my idea. This was, we had a accounts payable tech did a lot of work on this, and our deputy finance director did a lot of work on this. So when they brought it to my attention, I asked them to look at invoices where we're paying early and then estimate how much interest income we would earn if we paid at the due date, left the money invested in our money market and paid at the due date. And the conclusion was we would have earned about $5,800 in additional interest during the first 6 months of 2025. So maybe 12 grand a year. So that's one advantage. And then the other advantage is that we can schedule these payments in advance. So we just put them in a file, upload them to Wells Fargo, and then they make the payment whenever we schedule it. And I think if you can picture that, you know, when this board approves bills, we're the next day feverishly stuffing envelopes and trying to get the bills out. If we do it electronically, I think that smooths out the workload a little bit, and we're kind of doing a little bit each day as we go. So I think we'll get some efficiencies there. And then what it's going to allow us to do in combination with the net 30 piece is just schedule all those payments out and then keep that money invested as long as possible. There's a proposed resolution in the packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, before you get started, he did go through this at great length with me, and I want to make sure and thank the additional staff that worked so diligently on this. I think it makes really good sense for the county. And the only concern I would have is that we make sure and notify the vendors that this is the policy change and this is what we're doing. And, you know, Commissioner Bakken.
Lee, is there any concerns about increased fees with electronics? Because I know, like most people do, it's like a lot of businesses are going to 3% discount if you pay in cash versus with a credit card. I'm kind of equating it to that a little bit. Are there any increased fees with going electronic versus what we're currently doing?
I believe some of the, I'm going to look for guidance here. Less than a check.
Okay, so that fee would be offset anyway, correct?
That's what we think.
Okay.
And regarding the, the terms on the actual invoice, those are all negotiable. I mean, if somebody came to us and said they'd give us a discount for early payment, we could do the math on that and,
Okay.
make a decision.
Yeah, that was my only concern with that.
Yeah, I guess if there's that flexibility built into it, I don't have any issues whatsoever.
Move to approve both.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve both the accounts payable and the electronic payment policy. Any
Policies.
further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab,
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox,
Yes.
Commissioner Munson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you, Lee. This will come up.
quick question. You're going to be here for another half an hour or so?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I have item on 13. I'm going to need your help on that.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lee. HR Director Binder, State's Attorney Retention and Recruitment Follow-Up Discussion and follow-up information requested by the Burleigh County Commission at September 15th, 2025 Commission meeting. Review and approval of the revised auditor job description and recommendation for auditor salary effective April 1, 2027. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you. Chairman Bittner, Commissioners. Both items are follow-up. One is only a month old. The other one is quite a bit old, the state's attorney's stipend, or whatever we want to call it. This was brought by a state's attorney lawyer back in December of 2023, and I did include that original memo. She was given permission or approval to go ahead and work with myself to try and come up with some type of stipend or some type of equity to make the state's attorneys whole that had experienced this. We looked at caseloads. We looked at average caseloads. We looked at what kind of hours, overtime, what would have happened had we had the stipend all along. The stipend is usually what we do for other positions when they're doing extra work, double duty. Due to the turnover in the department, we really only have the 6 attorneys and then our state's attorney. And I did ask for our state's attorney to be included in there because our state's attorney was the one doing a lot of the double caseload as well. And she did a lot of the cases that were the hard cases, the ones that she wouldn't want the new attorneys to do. So I'm bringing this back. I'm not quite sure what we want to do. I apologize that it is so late. There were other things that took our time that were at the time more pressing. And I'd like to apologize to the state's attorneys, the assistant state's attorneys, for not getting back to them sooner on this to get them a resolution. I don't know if state's attorney lawyer wants to add anything.
Mr. Chairman, which venue do you think you would prefer? You say there's 2 choices?
Well, had we done a stipend, there was like a back stipend that I calculated. And this is a stipend for years. This is not just 1 year. This is from 2019 to 2023 is where the stipends were calculated. In 2023, we were at half staff barely from what the state's attorney needed. Wow. And we are still, the positions we're turning over still are the assistant state's attorney 2s. It seems like we get them out of law school, they pass the bar, we train them, and then they move on. Because of our caseload is one reason why a lot of them are moving on. It's just too much. We have managed to keep a few of our assistant state's attorney 2s, and 1 or 2 very experienced ones that I would actually hate to lose. And there's one that is listed on here as well that has been with us for a long time. So I'm not quite sure what to do. I realize it's old, but the problem still persists.
I don't really know how we can go all the way back to 2019, though. I just wanted to point out that it's my understanding this is a 14-position department, and we're operating at like 6, so we're less than half staff. And I believe there is justification. I'm not sure what that amount is, but some additional stipend. I do have an issue with going back all the way to 2019. Unless Julie wants to chime in on that.
Well, when I presented this nearly 2 years ago, we were talking about how in 2019 is when it started. November of 2018 was the last time we were fully staffed. And by January of 2019, we had lost 6 attorneys. So there were 8 of us that were doing the work of what we had positions for 14. But if you look at our statistics, just the incoming cases was more than that. And there were multiple attorneys that were putting in way too much overtime. And when I say that, I'm talking about working 80-hour to 96-hour weeks. Not 2 weeks, weeks. So they were putting in the work of 2 people every week. And that's why we went back to when we were down that many attorneys and doing that much extra work. And so that's the information that I presented. What you want to do with that, that's going to be up to you.
Well, you know me, I want to be fair. I mean, I definitely want to be fair to people.
Right.
I just have some reservation. Go ahead, Commissioner
There's
Whitcox.
2 charts in here. One, the bottom line is 344,000. The other one is 124,000. 2 things. What's the difference between these 2, and where would we take this fund? From our general fund, or?
The one is if it was overtime, and we only calculated like half the overtime because these were exempt positions, so they are expected to work some overtime. But working another position worth of overtime is excessive. So that was the first scenario. The second scenario was if we would have gone back and given them a stipend based on the positions that were open, like a 5% stipend, that's what this second chart is. The third chart is how much budget money was given back to the general fund every year in salaries and in fringe benefits.
We're aware of that.
Yeah.
We had money, more money than this returned every year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been, that's not a question. I mean, that's unfortunately.
Am I
No,
making-
I would just like to clarify, these are, the stipends that you're talking about, those are current employees, we're not
Yes.
talking about.
Yes, they're current employees only.
Good.
And you'll see that there's like a colored chart where the numbers are kind of diagonal. That goes with who was in those positions at the time for those different years. So we had Gabrielle Goder, she came on in 2023. So she didn't get anything from 2019 to 2022.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Munson.
So what about 24? That's not on your list. So that's a whole nother year in here.
That is a whole nother year. And I didn't include 2024 because we were sitting a little better, but our attorney experience was still off because the attorneys that we were able to get were right out of law school. And that's the case this year as well. So we had them as temporary law clerks, got them right out of law school, waited for them to pass the bar, and then we swore them in as attorneys. So I'm, in lack of a better word, I don't know what recommendation to make because this is old.
But we should probably set a policy, is really what we need to do for our staff. Whether we're paying half of the time and a half overtime, or if we're paying your second chart, however that was calculated, a flat fee.
It's a 5% stipend.
5%
But
stipend.
it goes back the 2019 to 2023.
Right.
It doesn't go to 2024.
Right.
I think the stipend makes sense. And the fact is, I think what I read here is that there's an average of 45 hours per week is considered normal. And so I don't know how, I didn't read into how the numbers actually came about, but, you know, if the policy, I think the policy should be, well, some overtime is obviously expected. All of our department heads are called on from time to time to work excess hours, and it's extreme situations like this that, you know, that got us here, so.
So I think maybe some of the policy might be setting that benchmark for what expected overtime would be, and then figuring out the above and beyond that. But some of this is just, the amount of hours they put in is ridiculous. So maybe going back and looking at what the position looks like and addressing it that way down the road is gonna make more sense. So I'm fully in favor of figuring out some pathway to catch them up right now, but we need to look at this long-term, because we can't be in this same rut of running up against the wall like this. And, you know, is it an incentive package with staying after you're, for a period of time? I don't know, Pam. It's just, we gotta figure out something so that we're not training them and then they're leaving.
Exactly.
So we have to figure out a little bit more, something comprehensive.
And in my memo, I did recommend the stipend route, because that's been our precedence over the overtime route. Because like I said, these are exempt employees, and we don't want to set that precedence for our exempt employees. After a certain amount of hours, they get overtime, because exempt employees are paid by the project getting the work done, not paid by the hour.
Well, the stipend part is much more agreeable to me.
Yeah.
And I do think that we should be looking at, you know, maybe an adjustment in that policy moving forward. I would have no problem with the stipend amount over here, because quite frankly, just recently, I got one of those windfalls that was kind of in that neck of the woods, and I was thrilled with it myself, but, you know.
And the stipend was calculated using 5% of the position salary for those open positions every year. So I took the state's attorney 1, those open positions, the state's attorney 2 open positions, and the senior state's attorney, did the average salary of them, and then calculated the 5% on top of that to get these numbers per year.
To me, it seems like that would be the very least we can do at this point. Doing nothing is not an option.
Correct. So when you go the stipend route, when you create a policy, what is that expected then overtime, if you will, or extra hours? And is there different levels of, you know, as State's Attorney Lawyer just stated, there's some employees that are willing to do 96 hours a week. That can't just be a standard stipend like the neighbor, you know, the person sitting in the desk next to him that's doing 50. You know, so how do you calculate that? How do you reward that person that's willing to do the work?
Well, I think
Or
that's
does
why
the
there's
next
a
person,
bench,
yeah,
you know,
does the
setting
next
a
person
bench.
stop at 50 because I can get my stipend at 50? I don't want to create that either. I know Julie's got phenomenal people. We just have to figure out how to make this policy reward those that are 96 hours a week.
And I think it was the tenured employees, and they didn't do it because they wanted to. They did it because they felt they had to.
They had an obligation
their
to,
job.
right.
So it's like rewarding them is probably the wrong term for that.
Correct.
They're just,
They're earning it.
they're
They've
doing
earned
their
it.
job and going above and beyond it because that's what's required at the time, because that office needs to function. So it's not a question of rewarding them as much as we need to figure out a better equitable path across the board in policy.
So based on that conversation, this second table, the 124,000, that does take into account additional hours that individuals worked versus, you know, that's the 96-hour person was getting more of a stipend than the 50-hour person. Is that accurate?
Yeah, because usually your 96-hour people, are the ones with more tenure, like our Assistant State's Attorney 2, right on top, Justin, who is here, and he's clamoring in the corner there because he's not one for attention, but he's back there. Julie was the other one. She's elected, but still, she was doing the job, 2 jobs, actually.
Yeah.
Dennis Ingold's the other senior. Mary Melick is the 2, Attorney 2. Daniel Vonderchek was an Attorney 1 at the time, and Isaac Lease was an Attorney 1 at the time. And Gabe Goder came on as a senior, and she came on late in 2023. But she has picked up a lot of cases. So our seniors are actually doing the work now as well.
Okay, so if we, hang on a second, so if we approve this stipend list at those amounts, are you anticipating an additional work on policy to correct that and nail it down more? I know everybody's been busy.
Yeah, I think at this point, because I've been up here a few times in the different departments asking for stipends because they're working a job and then another job. And I think we just have to set a policy on, is it a percentage? I don't know if we can go by hours. I think it's got to be a percentage of salary.
Okay, well, I think we need to just work harder on that and come back again with an update to the policy manual. Okay, Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Before, where does that leave us for 2024?
I didn't get to calculate 2024.
You'll be back
Yeah.
again next month.
Well, that's
meeting. Well,
Yeah.
you know, that's probably fair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fair. She
Yeah.
hadn't had time. You know, you need to understand she's been
Well-
as swamped in her department as
right, but
as
my
Julie's been in
my
hers
point
too.
to that is, do we want to clean this all up at once, or leave 2024 separate and
piecemeal it.
address it in the same fashion?
No, I see your point.
Yeah, so, because if we're gonna do the stipend, then we've set a precedent, so any motion I would
Right.
hope would have the same requirements for 2024, and then it's just a housekeeping.
Right. So the question then,
for payment
Pam,
at
is
that
can you
point.
calculate 2024 the same way you did these other years?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
So if we said, pass this stipend chart,
yeah,
including your calculations for 2024,
yeah.
and that would get us
That would-
Okay.
That would be my motion, so, I would move to approve the stipend chart with the addendum that 2024 will be, calculated with the same methodology as this stipend chart and added on when that's completed.
Which chart are you talking about now?
second.
The
chart.
second one.
Second chart.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wood.
I visited with state's attorney, it's been in my portfolio for a long time, but off and on, but I know how many hours she's putting in, and I've tried to get her out of there early, and she just won't do it. So I would prefer the first chart, which is a real significant difference in her particular line, but I would prefer that one rather than the 124.
I second that motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Wood
Discussion?
first.
We've had trouble getting attorneys forever that I've ever been here, and could this be enveloped into a policy when we hire somebody that this may be available? Because we're always trying to get our attorneys, we're trying to get them up compared to the market and everything else. We're competing with the other counties too, so.
Well,
And
I think once that policy is developed, it will apply
Yeah.
to everybody moving
Okay.
forward as well.
Because
as
it's more
not
about
just-
retention, isn't it, Pam?
Yeah, it's more of a retention
Yeah,
tool.
because once they pass the bar, that's when we lose them, after we've trained them up and,
Yes.
They leave.
yeah.
It's really no different than the Back the Blue grant. The only thing is the Back the Blue grant is being funded by the state of North Dakota.
Julie, can you talk to the state of North Dakota about this?
I would love to, but they are putting their resources on the recruiting of rural attorneys in rural jurisdictions, so they don't really care about us.
We've got rural parts of Burleigh County, we're good. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner
I do
Woodcock.
think this first chart reflects more in what they put in all these hours. I think this amount more reflect what they have done over the 5 years than the other chart. And if didn't get an answer, where would this come out of? What fund? What general fund or?
It would have to come out of the general fund. That's where all the excess
surplus
went in. The surplus
Okay.
went back
Oh,
into the
yeah,
general
that's
fund.
right. I'm sorry. Good point.
Mr. Chair, if I can.
Commissioner Munson.
I want to clarify the motion. Are we paying 23 and 24? Are we paying 19 through 24 as the stipend?
Yes.
that's-
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that.
24 will be calculated and added into these
To
totals
this,
and.
but we are paying back to 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's one other
Commissioner Schwab.
little thing that could happen here. Are we gonna be, somebody quits in the middle of the year, do they get a stipend?
For part of the year.
Do we want that in the policy?
I would think they'd have to work the full year.
Well, that would be
That
part
can
of
be
the
in the
policy.
policy,
That
yeah.
would be
I think
policy
that's-
However
discussion.
it wants to be done.
Yeah,
It's-
that's separate from this motion. That would be policy going forward, and I think that would be
So-
something you could bring back to us.
Okay, any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson.
I'm going to vote no because I do agree that we need to look at the overtime hours being paid, not just a stipend. But I also understand it's setting a new procedure, so, but I would vote no on this motion.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
No.
Chairman Bittner.
Well, la-di-da. Likewise, I think we need to look at it further, but I don't think I'm comfortable with making a decision above this stipend amount tonight. And so I would like to leave it open for some additional discussion, you know, kind of digest it a little bit.
Yep.
But, so I'm going to vote yes.
At minimum, we give
If-
them the
Can I
stipend
get
that they've got.
clarification that the matter, if you vote yes, it'll pass, and it'll be that 124 plus the new year,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, because I think that's a minimum that we should start with, and I'm just not quite comfortable going further.
And
myself
future
yet.
policy would,
Yeah, and
we
if,
we can catch things up with future policy. We just have to develop a better policy.
right,
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we're ever gonna catch up between these two. Once we make this decision, it's gonna stick. That's my opinion. I don't think we'll ever jump up to the other one, which is,
okay, well, motion carries. I do think, though, that we need to do additional work on this.
Yes.
Because I totally sympathize with people going above and beyond. But like I said, I'm just not quite comfortable this evening. So, okay. It's a good place to start.
It's a good place to start.
Okay, follow-up, go ahead.
Okay, my next item is follow-up from last meeting regarding the auditor's job description in draft, and I did include that in your packet. And this job description includes the auditor's duties minus anything that belonged to the treasurer. So I was looking for any revisions that you feel are needed or approval if you feel it's where it needs to be.
Okay, Commissioners, did you have any issues with the job description provided for the auditor?
Mr. Chair, Pam, number 5, acting as the clerk, I would also add the Missouri Valley Complex Committee to that list of groups.
I think there's an et cetera on there. that
Yep,
probably
there
covers
is.
that.
We can add it in.
I think the point there is that the auditor acts in that function for all commission-related appointed boards and whatnot. Commissioner Bachman?
Yeah, there was one piece in there about mail collection. I think that was currently a rotating schedule between departments. And I think that's currently working, so I don't know if we want to include that.
And the rotation can continue, but the auditor's office has always been in charge of the mail itself,
Okay, but
that mail function.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I don't see any changes needed to that. Does any one of these refer to the statutory responsibilities, Century Code? I didn't quite catch it.
They do. They refer to the
So every one
Century
of them
Code for
is-
the
is
auditor.
function of the auditor. Okay. Okay, at the very top.
Yep. North
Next
Dakota
time I
Century
should start
Code
at the top
1113.
instead of the bottom, huh? Hey, Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcox,
when we're looking at the salary range, is that part of this discussion?
that's next.
That would be the next discussion.
Okay. I'll wait.
Would move to approve the revised job description.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the job description. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox.
Yes.
Commissioner Munson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yes.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Okay. Recommendation on salary.
And I was also asked by the commission in the last meeting to do some research on elected auditors' salaries and then come up with a recommendation. And what I did is I downloaded salary survey data from the North Dakota Association of Counties that showed all 53 county auditors, and I divided them into the appointed auditors and the elected auditors and did the salaries based on that. I also took the Century Code, which is the general provisions, on 11-10-10, and I took that 2B, which is the base of 19,500, and that's for counties with populations over 8,000. And then I followed the instructions because it is asking for another $100 annually per year for any population over 1,000, additional population. So I put that down, 19,500 as the minimum, and then I took the population of Burleigh County that was on the North Dakota Association of Counties survey. That was 100,012. I minus 8,000 from it. That equaled 92,012. So I took that times 1,000. That equals 90.012. I rounded it to 90, times it times 100, and got 9,000. So the 19,500 plus 9,000 is 28,500 is the minimum salary, statutory for that position, statutorily. And I believe it was State's Attorney Lawyer who came up with the plan that if we had an elected auditor, we have the salary at the minimum, and then as they negotiate, whoever is in the position, elected into the position, negotiates based on what they bring in, their experience, their education, whatever they have to bring in. And then also, once they complete the training, they would get another salary bump.
Right.
So I put that in there as well.
You're correct. That was a conversation that the state's attorney and I had when discussing this. Because we wanted to make sure that there was a path forward for an increase in salary with demonstrated competence in the office. Whether you get the elections training, you get the auditor's training, you show competence in the position, then there should be a path forward. I guess you all know the reasons for those conversations, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcock.
the question I wanted to ask earlier is that 19.5 from the Century Code, when did they put that in? Is that from 1889 or?
It didn't say when it was put in, but that is what is current in there, in the general provisions.
Well, we've done this before and you look back at things 34 years ago, 19.5 is no longer 19.5. It's,
Yeah, but until it gets changed by the legislature, that is the statutory minimum.
okay.
I like the idea of a path forward based on qualifications and training and whatnot. And I would have no problem with staff developing those on our behalf. It seems fair to me.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Bakken first.
Pam, is there a factor, because I know the experience coming in is one thing, but as far as longevity, is there an escalator involved with that? So if somebody's reelected over 20-some years, what does that escalation look like? Because that, I would assume, has to be some component of this.
It's all over the board with tenure for the different auditors, but generally, the more tenured they have, the higher salary they make, unless they're in a very rural county with a low population.
Okay. Is that a factor in your calculations?
Yes, that is part of the salary survey.
Okay.
So it is included in those average salary calculations.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Woodcock.
So we expect somebody to go to the primary, win the primary, go to the fall, win that, and then look for something more than 28,500. What type of a person are you going to get to run for that? I mean, we still need a quality auditor. I don't care what we do. They still run the elections. I mean, that's the biggest thing, but we can't.
This is the baseline
We can't take
number.
the chance.
Yeah,
Right.
this is a start.
This is the bare bones minimum. Will we decide that position should be if it's 35 a year or if
Well,
it's
that's my
45? Yeah.
I don't want to see us pass a 28.5 or what it was. That's barely minimum wage anymore.
Well, I don't think it's competitive either
Yeah.
for the quality of candidates we should be getting for this
Right.
position.
Probably more than a commissioner makes, huh?
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. We're minimum wage anyway, so. Right?
And
It
to be
just
fair,
scares me what we're back or boxing ourselves in for.
Well, we're not boxing ourselves into anything. We're saying this is a starting point, and based on some sort of qualifications and whatnot during the process, you have every ability to, in my opinion, to increase that salary based on what do you bring to the table.
Well, there's
You know, if you're an 18-year-old kid coming out of high school, you know, what are you worth? I mean, you and I look at something, we're talking about salaries from the viewpoint of guys that are at the ends of their career. So it's, you know, we're talking about somebody who can literally walk in as an 18-year-old and have lived in the county for 6 months, and that's the only qualification you got.
Exactly.
What's that worth?
We'll find out. We'll find out, I guess.
Right.
Mr. Chair, so
Commissioner Munson.
we're still in the development stage of this.
Yeah.
We're asking Pam to come back with, okay, what is our increase in salary once they pass the elections training? What is the increase for if they come in with a four-year education or a master's? So this is just conversation to start the process. Now we need HR, we need Pam to come back to us.
Yeah, and I think
Here's our baseline, here's the levels of training, here's what's attached to each level, so that, you know, you say 6 months after you've won the election, here's where you can be. So we're not making a decision today on 28.5.
No, I
We're
don't
just
think
having the conversation to get it started so that Pam can come back to us and say, here's the benchmarks. This is what we believe these benchmarks are worth.
And I think that's fair.
Yep.
I mean, you know, I firmly believe in paying people what they're worth. But show us what you're worth.
Yep.
You know, we do that every day. We've got interviews coming up this week for some positions that are open, and that's going to be a part of it. You know, what qualifications do you bring to the table?
And we don't want to forget this is a 4-year position, not just a 1-year
Right.
thing. So if we get somebody in there that's not proficient, or we're going to have them for 4 years.
Well, that's also part of the reason why you don't want to start it out high.
Well,
See,
I'm not
that
starting
was-
out-
that
I
was-
didn't say high, I'm saying 28.5 is too low.
I
didn't say
understand
high.
why your perspective isn't, I understand your perspective on that, Commissioner, but we have to start someplace.
Yep.
Oh, I agree with that.
And I don't know if you had any conversation with the former auditor when he left. But one of the questions he had for me was, did this auditor get the same salary that he was getting when he left? And I said, yes. And he about died laughing.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Because he had his position at his salary level was based on what, 35 years with Burleigh
35 years
County.
of service and a master's degree in public administration.
Right. And so, comparing the two qualification levels was,
Yep.
that's what got us to this conversation.
State's Attorney Lawyer.
And Chair Bittner, with your permission, I do have a
Yes.
couple of answers to the questions that were asked. The last time the law regarding the salary was updated was 2001. And right now, North Dakota's minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. And with that salary at 2,080 hours per year, which is generally what a 40-hour work week is, that's $15,080.
So we're proposing double the minimum wage to start.
My main concern is we don't get a minimum wage person in there for 4 years. We don't want to trap ourselves. This
we're
is,
not- we're
this
not
is the way
trapped
to
at all.
move forward, but I still am very skeptical with 28.5.
Well, we're not trapped, that's all. Commissioner Buchan?
And Commissioner Munson, we're not setting this number right now. This is what the baseline is and what we deem as the incentives, the tenure, training, experience, all of those are escalators. So this is, it's kind of like signing a professional contract in sports, and if you hit benchmarks, you're going to get paid more.
Right.
If you catch so many touchdown passes, you're going to get paid more. So
I'd agree.
And as a base, this is a place to start, but what those escalators look like for somebody to be able to raise that salary greatly, then that kind of puts it back on the individual, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But I understand where you're coming from, but this is just a starting point. This isn't where we're going to end.
I'm curious to see the rest of the
Yeah.
packet. Yep.
I can assure you that I would expect a higher salary. Somebody comes in with like a master's degree in public administration.
But they have to get elected first. Then we decide what
Well,
they
they
get
could
for
sure
salary.
run on
So
that
they're
as a
taking a big
qualification.
chance, too.
Well, yeah, but you run on that as a qualification. What makes you suitable for the job, right?
But if we set
That's what
that
you do.
policy, they know when they're running
Yeah.
that they have their masters, they're not a $28,000 job.
Right.
They're a X.
Right, and I think we'll have some additional policies and stuff
Yep.
developed, but honestly, Pam and her entire office, and just like Julie's and everybody's been so swamped that I couldn't ask any more from them
Right.
at this point.
Yep.
So I'm happy to get this far with as busy as, the payroll issues and everything that's been going on. There's smoke coming out
They
of that
signed
room.
up online.
Good.
Yep.
Signed up online, good for you. Okay, any further discussion? Call the roll.
There was
There was a motion, wasn't there?
No,
Oh, I thought there was.
no,
Oh, okay.
just, I think a consensus for Pam to keep working.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
okay.
be
Fine.
good with that.
You don't want a motion of any sort? That's fine. I don't care.
Thank you.
Pam, stay there. I notice our checks have Paylocity on them now.
Mm-hmm.
How's that working?
We got it to
We're
work.
in for a half hour now.
Time card system is a little bit of a challenge for some departments, but we're working on it, trying to iron that out. Paylocity is a more current system than what we were on with Infinite Visions, and so there was some reconciliation issues, especially around taxes, that are a little different. Our
Rounding was
Infinite-
different, was a big one, right?
The what?
The rounding on, that was
Some
a
of it was
big one.
the rounding on because Infinite Visions rounds out 6 decimal places, where Paylocity only rounds out 2. But we also had a new W-4 form that happened in 2019, but we didn't make our employees complete the new W-4 form unless they were hired. So I completed the new W-4 form when I came on, but we had a lot of our employees that were already here, so we didn't have them complete it. And what happened when we moved those to the new system calculates it the way the new W-4 needs to be calculated, and our old system was still under the new W-2, which the federal taxes didn't change much, but the state taxes did, because it defaulted most people into a single status for the state because there was no form dictating what they wanted for state. So that was part of that email saying, okay, go in, check your taxes, make sure your direct deposit's right, and also check your direct deposit, check your taxes, and change your taxes. If your state is not right, change your state. If your federal is not right, change your federal, because that's what came over on the feed.
Yeah, that makes sense, because when I looked at the form I got, I thought, well, that's not what I've been getting, you know. There was a big change.
Mine was $1 off, so I had to go in and change mine.
Commissioner Schwab.
I have one more short question. So, is this now, once you get it, all the bugs out, gonna do what you need it to have done?
Yes, it will be a universal timekeeping system
Okay, good.
and a payroll, so we've got it.
Excellent.
I guess about the only thing I would add is I appreciate the employees' patience while we work through some of these difficult things, because it is a big change between software programs, and I know that's been a hiccup, so thanks, everybody.
Thank you. That's all I
Thank
have.
you, Pam. Okay. 12, Commissioner Munson, you have a treasurer position discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've received some phone calls in the last couple of weeks, probably maybe even 4, but they've gotten a few more lately. We were very adamant when we when we hired the finance department that we wanted to make sure we had checks and balances, and I've been getting questioned because we have the same person doing both, and they just wanted to know when we were looking at moving into that hiring of the treasurer. So, not that I needed any answers, just bringing it up for discussion. Pam called me and said, "All right, Wayne, what are you after?" And
That's because I called her and said, "What are you after?"
she wasn't after anything.
Yeah.
It was all me.
Yeah. Give me a call next time. Go ahead, Pam.
The only thing I just wanted to add a few things. I know that I was the main adversary about putting the two departments under each other, and I still feel that way. We have both of our finance guys in doing helping with the treasury role, and from what I'm learning on my own with some of the other stuff, it's more of a challenge than what it should be. The system with Infinite Visions, as I found out on the payroll side, they're finding out on the general ledger side, is not up to date. So they came in thinking, okay, we'll just have to organize stuff and then be done. But instead, they're fixing a lot of things. So they're still in fix mode. So I don't know, bringing a treasurer in at this time that doesn't understand the general ledger system, is that a good thing? Are we going to drive them off screaming? I don't know.
Well,
the other thing I have...
I want to interrupt you a little bit
okay.
right there, if you just give me a chance. I've talked this over at length with staff. It's my opinion, based on the conversations with staff, that we're still into repair mode.
Without a doubt. Yep.
And we're scheduled and planning for a transition from the current way that we're doing the books and whatnot. And I think we're going to do like a cloud-based system here starting real soon. And staff, to their credit, and all the staff involved, has been really working hard. That's why I said earlier when we were talking about this policy question that this was going to come up again, because those are the kind of things that are keeping them so busy right now.
Sure.
And it's my belief at this time that if we hired a treasurer today, it'll take a good 6-8 months to kind of train him on something, or him or her, except that that's a problem, training anybody on this mess that they're straightening out right now. And so I personally would like to see some breathing room here. I'm satisfied with the checks and balances that are within the office and the staff there. Because as you're aware, there's no bill, no checks go out that doesn't go through multiple people, including commissioners. And so I'm confident that we don't have a problem with checks walking out the door or anything of that nature. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that I think that it would be too chaotic to add somebody new to the office. And also based on discussions with staff, we may be able to utilize in-house people to move them into that position. Because what I'm hearing and what we heard before is that we actually have excess staff on certain functions that we may be able to shift them around and get a more efficient use of the office without actually adding another person. So we're still right in the middle of all that. And I understand some people may be impatient. They might want to know. However, it's an ongoing process that is, if not daily, almost every other day conversation for me. Go ahead, Pat.
And then I have another human resources selfish motive, because we're in October, almost mid-October. This is a director level position. We usually post for a month. That takes us right almost into Thanksgiving. We have the holidays coming up, and recruiting over the holidays for this level of position is not an easy thing to do, because most people want their holidays off and want their annual leave, vacation, sick leave. If they're coming from a private business, they probably want their bonus or a commission, depending on what they're doing there. So it's very hard to get somebody to move this late in the year. That's just my own selfish motive from Human Resources.
Well, and I appreciate both of your statements, because the public doesn't know. And so to bring it up here, it is now spoken to the public, and that information is out there for their knowledge. And so I appreciate your explanation. And
yeah, the staff has been doing a jamming good job of making improvements and things, and so we're definitely making headway. Thanks for the question.
You bet.
Call me next time.
No, I wanted you to explain it to the public. That's what was perfect.
Don't put me in that position there, Commissioner. Commissioner Woodcock's 250th anniversary mural update.
Thank you. This is an update. We're working on that mural on the south side of the Provident Life Building, and working diligently, and we have received a grant of $35,000 from the North Dakota Heritage Association, but we need to match that in order to get that. So I visited with Lee, and is Lee still there? He is. Yes, he is. He's Lee.
He's busy.
He's visiting with the assistant Lee. Anyway, we discussed what possible ways can we come up with that $35,000 since it's not budgeted specifically. There is two recommendations that he made, or suggestions. One was that the Provident Life Building had a maintenance fund which had over $1 million in it that we have recently, like last meeting or meeting before, moved to the general fund. That was a possible source. Another possible source was the interest that we've received on the ARPA funds that we've dedicated to the Provident that we haven't spent. We've got, I think he said, there it is. Can you get that amount for me?
Commissioner Woodcock, I think it was around 1.2 million of ARPA and about 525,000 of the Provident Building Fund, which with a vacant maintenance director position is probably going to increase. Probably more like 550 or 560 by the end of the year.
Anyway, I would like some direction as to which of these two funds we should take this out of.
Neither one.
Pardon me?
Neither one.
Either one?
Neither one.
Neither one?
Neither one.
How do you?
The reason I say that is because we've already made decisions that we were kind of earmarking those funds and those amounts to put towards the Provident remodel. And I think that we need to keep those options open. So I don't think we should be depleting those things at this point. However, having said that, I wouldn't have an issue with utilizing the general fund reserves or something for that. I'm not opposed to that. I just don't think that those two funds are something that we should be dipping into, knowing that we're in the middle of an overhaul, Commissioner.
Commissioner Woodcock's, your committee is set up, what are some of the other co
Conspirators?
Yeah, for lack of a better word. So,
We have-
so like
we have
you said,
five. We have about 5 or
DWAC
6.
is the city
We've
engaged.
got everybody. The city's involved,
So as
the
far
state's involved. There's 3 different associations that deal with this type of thing. The Heritage Fund that Commissioner Bittner's on. There's I wish I had the list. I didn't make a list, but there's 3 that are nonprofits.
So for this, we're not looking at a full $35,000 from us.
Well, we are, in order to secure that, we want to wrap that $35,000 grant into, so we can.
Okay, so what are some of the pledges from some of the entities that are involved?
We are still working on that. That's the only one we received. But I would like to do it before the end of the year is what I'm thinking, because a lot of the expenses coming up will be over the winter time, and I don't want to be scrambling trying to find money in last year's budget.
I think we could go ahead and move this item forward to an additional agenda, and then we can move it to another agenda if there's nobody else that's kicking any money in, like if the city or anybody else is willing. I think we can easily make a decision on that before the end of the year. Because I think it's
I think we need to get a more technical presentation on how it's done and what it's doing. They're researching on types of paint, because there's a certain type of paint you have to use on these murals, and a certain type of cleaning material if you have to clean the brick off, and it's very much more intensive than I ever thought it was going to be. But
have you gone through downtown design review to make sure it's okay first?
I mentioned it to the mayor. Is that good enough?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. It's a different group of people
And we
that
did
have say in a lot of.
We did have a meeting up at the Heritage Center with the city. I forget their community development, and they were in favor of it. So not that they're
I don't think that's
committing
the
any money.
committee.
Well, it still has to go
It's
through.
not the
It's
committee
still
he's
got to go
referring
through
to.
review, and I know.
We're going to do that. It's just
Okay.
I don't want to lose this grant, and there's a date on
Okay.
that. I
Yeah.
just don't want to lose that grant.
Well, I would be in favor of making sure that we don't lose this grant, so I'd be supportive of taking that out of the general fund until, just as a placeholder, until we figure out what the rest of the finances are.
Okay. I didn't expect a decision, but I just wanted to give an update, so.
We're
moving along.
What's the timeline? What do you have for a timeline? When's the grant done? Or what's that date on that you
I
got?
think it's December 1st, something like that. It's this
Okay,
year.
so we have some time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that might be flexible.
that's fine. Well, could be. The mayor's position, you mean, or the?
No, the grant timeline, I can look into that. I'm pretty sure that's not the issue. But I do think that it's a good project. The only thing I wanted to reiterate that I think it's an absolutely bad idea to do any paint on the brick.
There won't be any paint on the brick.
Because, well, you mentioned cleaning and painting the brick, so we're not.
It's painting the murals that
Right.
go on the
That-
brick.
I just wanted to
Right.
clarify. There's no way should
Well,
we paint the
and
bricks.
my reference to downtown design review and stuff, it just, think of the nightmare from trying to change the facade going into the Provident building,
Oh, yeah, well,
because.
we can't.
Yeah, you can't, and I
They're
recall
wor-
the
with-
depot building.
We're working
and-
with,
Yeah,
they're on board,
okay,
they're the ones that are directing the type of paint that
yeah, so.
going, and it's being done, but
Good.
I just want to keep you up to date on what we're doing. The
Good.
next meeting, I'm gone the next meeting, but I'm going to my grandson's wedding, so probably 2 meetings from now, I'll bring you,
Couldn't you reschedule the wedding?
reschedule the wedding. Well, I don't think that's up to me.
Well, I think then the safest bet would just be to direct that this be on the agenda for
First week.
First meeting in November.
first meeting in November.
There are a lot of celebrations being planned for the 250th birthday. If you hear the national news, everybody's doing something. So this is the only project that I know of that we've got going for Burleigh County. And we didn't do anything for Burleigh County when we had our 150th anniversary. So it's a good project. Looking forward to it.
Okay, some continued agenda items. ETA discussion on salary for the next elected auditor. City recreation agreement. I think that we pretty well discussed that salary for the next elected auditor.
Yep.
I think we'll just go ahead and scratch that, if it's all right with you, commissioners. The ETA discussion, Mitch pointed out to me that he had asked for some stuff to be put in the agenda packet, and it was kind of all out of order, so he wanted to get back into that. And before we go much further, I had asked that the county engineer and staff, Mitch and everybody, participate in this meeting and those discussions. And Marcus said he would like to have a better understanding of what the commission wants him to accomplish. And so that brings up the question of the maps and everything that Mitch will go through. So I guess you can take it from here, Mitch.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. Right, we're going to talk about amending this existing ETA. Changes to the 2013 ETA agreement and the ETA boundary are under consideration. A request has been made to accept areas located within Fort Rice, Apple Creek, Lincoln, Gibbs, Hay Creek, Burnt Creek, and Riverview Township. No justification is provided by the city with this request. However, these changes are preliminary. Century Code 40, Chapter 40, Article 40 allows the city to do this. I'd like to begin by discussing the proposed changes on a map that was created by our GIS coordinator. On this map that they provided to us, the areas that are hashed, red cross hatched, are the ones that they are wanting to reduce their ETA by. This contains 292 subdivisions, 4,529 existing parcels, 3,730 structures with a 911 address. In the special flood hazard areas, there are 1,355 structures, and in the shaded X zone, which is the 500 year, there's 185 structures, total of 1,440. To determine the designated staff, I asked the city if they could provide us with the designated zoning of these areas, and they did. There's 9 PUDs. There's a majority of residential districts, the R5, which is low density, similar to RRRs, and then R10 is two-family and RM is multifamily. There's commercial light and heavy, and there's industrial light and heavy zones. I asked to collect all existing and current complaints, a list of existing current building permits, and a list of non-conforming properties. They haven't gotten that to us yet. One of the things that we'd have to work on is 911 addressing in the ETA. The state does not allow combined jurisdictions. You have to have a designated jurisdiction doing this, and no other jurisdiction can follow that. So Bismarck would have to define the areas for where they would do the 911 addressing, and that would leave us to be responsible for the areas that they're not in. The cost to Burleigh County are basically the administrative side of the planning, building permits, and the floodplain administration. We'd have to start off with the conversion of city to county records, the data transfer of all building records and code enforcement history complaints record past and present from city eTracker to county SmartGov, the purchase of additional tracking modules from SmartGov planning and complaints, letters, notice to owners, et cetera, inspections, response, so we can track these complaints. Legal services to assist in complaint litigation, code enforcement, research letters, notice orders, and enforcement. The changes to our planning procedures, we can adopt a resolution to have all the zoning categories transferred from the city to our Burleigh County zoning, or reinstate the zoning categories removed from ordinance 1309, or update our existing ordinances. Currently they have 16 districts. We have 8. So we would have to change our predominantly in this area to an urban
planning model. We'd have to update our future land use map and comprehensive plan. If this proposed map is approved, there will no longer be a joint jurisdictional agreement with the city in Burleigh County. What is theirs is theirs, what is ours is ours. And so we would have to adopt the MPO urban requirements for any of these areas, which includes the plat review, stormwater management reviews, roadway master plan compliance, and land use compliance. Possible new employees would be a code enforcement officer, commercial residential inspector, permit technician, and a county planner. Additional costs would be computer equipment and other furniture for new employees, tablets for in-field inspections, upgrades for existing office computers, and possibly a new inspection vehicle, increased budget items, gasoline maintenance, et cetera. The permits issued, this is all based on looking at the number of properties, looking at the number of complaints, looking at what permits issued and what we have to enforce, especially in the special flood hazard areas. The permits that the city has issued is building, mechanical, and plumbing permits in the ETA. This is from 2024 records. The city issued 554 permits in this area. The county has issued in the same year 351.
Let me interrupt you, Mitch.
Okay.
So the county planning and zoning department budget takes into account the income from those permits, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the budget for 2024?
Our budget,
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up. I think it was
I see.
497.
497?
Yeah, I have to look it up.
So if, 203 more permits, would that likely to result in a substantial increase in the income to the county planning and zoning department?
It could, yes. It was an increase of 58%.
Right, well, the point I'm making is that a lot of the costs that we would incur would be covered by the permit
Absolutely.
fees.
Right.
And so it's not actually a bottom line cost, it's
Yeah.
And I guess I would also point out that we do have an extra position that's been funded for, I think, the last year, if not 2 years, that's still been open, so there's been unspent revenue. But go ahead and continue.
Yeah, we would also have planning revenue from, platting and
Sure,
subdivisions, that sort of thing.
right. So it's just important to note that there's increases in income while we're talking about expenses.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
So the earliest adoption of the ETA would be October 28th, if you guys want to adopt this map. The review and a presentation approval of any new ordinance will take a considerable amount of time, though. There have been protracted disagreements with citizens in managing the ETA. So, in my mind, there'd be changes that need to be taken up front before this happens. I mean, how do we adopt the similar city ordinance for existing subdivisions when these ordinances themselves caused the problem in the first place?
Yeah.
So do we want to continue down this same road and we'll be the new city of Bismarck to them?
Yeah.
A lot of people are not informed about the differences what the county does and what the city does. We're pretty close. We're very close. Administratively, we may do things different, but these codes don't change just because you're crossing the line.
Right.
You have, federal law with FEMA, with the floodplains, we're going to double the area, if not close to triple the area of the special flood hazard areas that we'll be responsible for. And that's, we can't change those. I mean, administratively, we do things differently, but on the hard black and white of building codes and floodplain regulations, there's no difference. And as a matter of fact, we're a little more restrictive in the floodplain.
Sure.
So I did put together a very elevated, high view of these costs. to get a bid amount from SmartGov and from planning organizations and from Pam Binder. The record conversions would be close to $15,000. SmartGov purchase, which would mean they call it the enterprise subscription, which has everything, the complaints, the planning, and the permitting would be $45,000. Updating all the zonings would be $52,100. Employee costs for equipment, et cetera, $40,000. Hiring the new employees would be $223,000. Legal services, I couldn't put a number on that, so. I mean, it comes up roughly, this is $375,000, and it is a very high elevation view. They all told me that this could be lower. But if we take these figures, what we come up with today, it's would increase our budget by 61%.
All right, well, I was just looking for budget information from 2024, but I'm kind of running into an overload on emails, so it's not really too relevant, because I think that what this points out is that an increase in the permits, an increase in platting applications and things like that is reasonably projected to cover the cost of any increase in expenses, so I'm not too overly worried about that. So what I talked about with Marcus, unless you want to add anything more?
I don't, unless you have any questions
For
me.
Mitch on this. You may have any questions for Mitch? Okay, I guess don't. Thanks, Mitch. We'll see if there are any questions after a little bit.
Okay.
And so I thought that the map that was proposed by the city of Bismarck would be way too difficult for the citizens to understand and to work with. And then I started to get calls from people who were in the white area and going, hey, what about me? What about us? And so that's what resulted in the map that County GIS provided at Mitch's request after I asked him to do that, which is the map that's on page, I think it's 85 in your packet. That's the one that shows the whole works as it's just starting out at city limits, and it's the county there. And I think that's the fairest thing, because you probably heard during previous testimonies that myself and other veterans don't ever want to leave anybody behind. And I think there was, a couple thousand homes or thousands of people that would still be left behind under the city's proposed map. And so therefore, that's why I asked for this map to be drawn up. And that would be the question for what is staff going to present and what is Commissioner Bakken going to represent at the city-county committee meeting tomorrow. What are your thoughts, commissioners?
Well, tomorrow is actually our joint, so
Right.
it's all of us tomorrow.
Oh, it is?
So, yeah, so we'll have an opportunity to. Or,
Just-
no,
I
just
thought,
committee.
no, I thought it was
Just
committee.
Just committee.
Okay, I
Just
apologize.
You and the mayor and.
Okay. So, yeah, so the discussion then is, do we want to put forward the city limit? And I'm pretty sure Commissioner Schwab, I know where you stand on this, the city limit, and let us manage the rest from there.
You know, it occurred to me, commissioners, that I know there's some people in the room that might want to speak on this item. That we, since under the public comment policy, we said wait until this agenda item comes up. So at this point, if you're here and you want to provide some input on this discussion, feel free to come up and identify yourself.
Good evening, Chair Bittner and Commissioners. My name is Heidi Sherrato, and I'm a Burleigh County resident, and I live in the northeast section of the ETA proposed urban reserve area on the new city proposed map. I live off of TJ Lane. TJ Lane serves access to approximately 21 lots. It's a total of 137 acres that are accessed by TJ Lane. All 21 lots are currently in the current ETA map as it stands. However, with the city's current proposal to change the ETA boundary, all have been excluded from the ETA but 4 lots totaling 81 acres. Those 81 acres consist of 1 3-acre lot and 1 2-acre lot that are sandwiched between 40 acres and 35 acres. All the other small lots have been excluded. So in looking closer at the city's proposed changes, small lots are being excluded and those with larger acreage are the target. I have no issue with those small lots being excluded. I wish I was one of those lots being excluded. And I'm happy for those people. But to lock down the land that is most advantageous to the city, like the 40 acres and the 35 acres, for the next 25 to 50 years is, in my opinion, a land grab. I understand the city's growing, their needs are growing, and the city fails to recognize that those of us with larger parcels in the ETA also have changing needs. To expect a landowner to reside on that property for 25 to 50 years with no changing needs to the property, I think that's an unrealistic expectation. They've restricted us and they've hung us in limbo as to allow little to no modifications with excessive regulations. And I'm talking mainly in regards to like accessory buildings and that kind of thing. I was a little frustrated because, the city has an informational guide to accessory buildings with rural residential zoning districts. My property is zoned agricultural, but I'm being held to a rural residential zoning standard, even though I'm agriculture. In that standard, if you have a 1.5 acre lot, you're allotted 2,400 square feet for accessory buildings. When you do the math, that's 3.7%. If you have a 1 acre lot, it's equal to 4.5%. But for 35 acres, it's equal to 1/3 of 1%. If you get a special use permit, you get 0.5% use for a special use permit for accessory buildings. So the 35 acres we have zoned as agriculture, and we use it as agriculture. It's not used for anything other than agriculture. I live there. We have livestock. We have farm equipment. It's agriculture. So my understanding is, and I've done some research on this, that North Dakota state law does protect legitimate agricultural practices. The city's document, the Together 2045 Bismarck Comprehensive Plan, states that one of their many goals and objectives is to protect the rural character of existing and planned rural residential areas in the Bismarck's ETA. But then they go on to say to preserve the ability for rural residents to keep animals, gardens, and other agricultural practices appropriate to the scale of the lot. I just really don't feel like 1/3 of 1% is an appropriate scale for 35 acres. One of the other objectives that I noted was the document says that it is, one of their goals and objectives in that document is to celebrate the region's agricultural heritage through support for local growers, ranchers, and exempt use of lands or buildings for farming and ranching from all land use and zoning restrictions in accordance with state law. All of the buildings on my property are agricultural use except my house. So I know it's not solely this commission's decision, but I just would respectfully request to be excluded from this ETA. I was wanting to reach out and talk to somebody that was on the City Planning and Zoning Commission that represents those of us in the ETA. When I went to the website, I spent a half an hour trying to find somebody's phone number. I found all their names, but there's no phone number, there's no email, there's no means to contact those people. So I reached out to somebody else that I did know on that commission to get a phone number for somebody else. It shouldn't really be that hard to have a conversation with people that are supposed to represent us on that board. And my other frustration with it is that if you're in the ETA, you have 5 votes to support you, and the city has 7. I don't feel like that's a fair and adequate representation for people in the ETA either. So I stand for questions if anybody has any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Heidi? Well done.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak on this item? Okay, I'm not seeing any takers. Commissioners? Commissioner Schwab?
A lot of the expense with this, number one, before I get to that, this map that the city drew up and said this is what they'd like to do is about the worst gerrymandering map that I've ever seen in my life. Politicians couldn't do that. And they're trying it in California now. I mean, it's crazy. We're going to end up, if we use their map, we are going to end up with a bunch of people in these white areas ticked off, the same situation. For the life of me, I don't know why it's so important to the city to have control over people that don't live in the city. If they were out there in that territory, they'd be the first ones to complain. That being said, the biggest cost is on these subdivisions that they have okayed is to the highway department. Over $5 million. So I want to see the highway department.
Can I interrupt you just, sir, for a second?
Sure.
Because I know that's more recent information than I had and that I used at a previous meeting. Because at a previous meeting, I said 2.59, and then I found out a day or so later that it was actually 2.6 million, but now the number is actually at 5 million. So it was not.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out that numbers that I've used in the past for things that Burleigh County has had to fix, it's now 5 million. And
You might even be low.
That very likely is, and I know that's a low estimate, but.
Well, the problem with that is we don't have that kind of money in the budget.
Right.
To go and fix this stuff. So what I want is to turn Marcus loose on this thing with
Casey and Dan and the whole
whoever
doggone
else
crew.
to help
The whole
out.
crew.
And I want Marcus to go in there and explain to them that what the errors of their way, and we can't afford them. So if they're going to do this, they need to pay for the problems that we have to fix. That's number one.
Well, you remember I asked the question at the meeting. Are you going to do a lump sum payment, or you want to make a payment with interest? You know? And so, I mean.
Exactly.
Because we can't keep covering those costs, because like you said, it's not in the budget, but yet it comes out of the highway department budget, so therefore slashes items that we actually do plan for. Go ahead, sir.
So I want Marcus to go in there and help our planning and zoning and all that. I hope he loses his temper. Can you do that?
Yeah, he's here.
Well, I was just made aware of another situation where
it's Marcus's
they're not
department
lining
that
up
is
roads.
getting hammered here.
Another one.
Say again.
I was just made aware of another situation that's currently under development. They're not lining up the roads.
Oh, yeah, that's right near my house. It's the same thing.
It's like it happens all the time.
The newest subdivision I'm aware of, the roads don't line up. I do know that
That's
Marcus
just added
was
cost.
concerned about taking a position that could offend the commission or anything like that, and I really don't think that he could say and do anything that would offend this commission on this issue.
Well,
we do have a map here.
Marcus, you have carte
As a-
blanche.
Go get him. Go get him. See if you can't get that 1 foot deal in.
Well, we're starting right here. I mean, there's no 1 foot in this map.
Yeah.
Because
No.
anything else does not address the issue. Now, I've said, and I am totally committed to working with the city in every way we can. The cooperation would be vastly enhanced. But if we can't get past this issue, we're going to have same issues moving forward.
Well, and you're right, Chair Bittner, in that their map takes a lot of people out while reserving a lot of what is more readily developable land. But what about the people that get stuck, saddled with that?
Yeah, that's the problem I have.
It's still, and I don't care what level of government it is, should not be in the job of picking winners and losers, and they're doing that. That's what their map looks like is, hey, we're going to take all these people out so that the majority think they've got to win, but what about the minority in this case?
Well, they continue to lose their voice.
Yeah,
See,
they still lose their voice.
Right
and
now,
they're
you got
disadvantaged.
12,000 people
So the
out there
government's
ringing the
picking
bell.
winners and losers.
Yeah. And then, of course, turning over those existing subdivisions means they've already absorbed the income from the permits and the plating and whatnot. So let's just shovel that, well, I won't use that word. Let's just shovel those things off on the county with no income, right? Well, that makes no sense.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Munson.
I think Commissioner Balkin said it very, very well here a few meetings ago. If our planning department and the city's planning department are working together and are very consistent with our codes, when there's a group that wants to become a city development and they request to have annexed in, and if our department is working very similar to their department, there is no reason we can't have the care, custody, control of that area today.
Should be seamless.
As long as it is ready for them to be annexed in at their choice.
Absolutely. Well, I think I was very clear that it was the county planning and zoning that prepared county subdivisions for eventual entrance into the city. You know, nobody else has done that, but the county did. So that when the city gets there, that problem doesn't exist anymore.
Seamless hookup.
Well, I thought that was a really, really important breakthrough, but yet the city is still applying, you know, archaic kind of rules to subdivisions to where, you know, you got to have an acre and a half minimum. A lot of people don't want an acre and a half. That's the hard part for the city to overcome when they eventually get there, because now nobody can afford the taxes based on the square footage of lots, right? And it's just, you know, at some point they need to understand that there are solutions, and we've been providing those solutions, but apparently hasn't been registering. So,
Well, and there's nothing wrong with urban density in a rural setting either, and
Right.
that's something that else needs to be addressed with this also is the ability to already have that density when the city gets out to that point that it's easily absorbed. And that's a choice. Some people don't mind having a neighbor that's close, but they don't want to live in town at this point in time. And that's fine too. We're trying to open up all options for all people.
I did a little math just so that you know, with the amount of acreage that I own. You heard the conversation about the 40 acres, and I don't own 40 acres, but on my land where the city would allow a 2,400 square foot building on my lot out in the ETA, the square footage that I own under the county zoning ordinance would allow me to do in excess of 32,000 square foot building. So you see, that's not equal representation under the law, which is really the underlying principle behind our concerns here, is the application of the Constitution and the equal protection under the law. Because you can't have a different standard for the people who can vote for you versus the people that can't vote for you. Because I think you can cover a lot inside the city limit with a lot higher square footage than you can out in the county. And then here we are, we can't do anything about it. So anyway, commissioners, I was hopeful that the position that we would be taking would be this new map on page 85 rather than the totally gerrymandered map on page 89.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcox.
the two different proposals, ours and theirs, you just take the map, lay it on the table and look at it, and you can tell this one, the city proposal, is like a shotgun hit it. I mean, they've taken out here and there and blocks and all.
Yeah.
Nobody will know what they're doing. They're gonna figure out right across the street, there's somebody who isn't it, and the other ones are in it. And it's, at first glance, the county map is much more.
It's cleaner.
Easier to develop, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, here you know you're in it or you're not. I mean, there's the line right there, and it's not the other neighbor on the other side. He's not in the different area, so.
Well, and then this gives equal protection under the law to the citizens. That's a absolutely critical thing to me. Commissioner Schwab.
I guess when you're out in this twilight zone here, the city can tell you what and what to do, not to do, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we gerrymander and say we're in the county. If you want to shoot a gun, you can shoot a gun. I'm using this as an example now.
Mm-hmm.
But the city could turn around and say, and they're
can't.
part of this deal. Nah, we're not going to let you do that.
True.
That's the way I read it. And to me, man, California, here we come. But I mean, now I'm just using that for an example. There's a ton of examples that you can use like that where the people left behind or the people that want proper representation are not going to get it, and all it is stubbornness, I think. What's so tough about if the city wants to put in a subdivision, they consult with the county to find out if it's going to be good for both of us. I mean, it can't be that hard. It's too easy.
Actually, it's really easy, Commissioner. If you don't mind, I'll tell you to lay out the path for you.
Sure.
There is a certain section in the North Dakota Century Code that deals with this exact question. That's called a Regional Planning and Zoning Commission. So you can establish, we can do a combination of planning and zoning commissions. It doesn't have to be City of Bismarck Planning and Zoning, which I've been on that board, you all know, for probably, I don't know, 18, close, I don't know exactly when I started, 08 or 09, but like 18 years on that board. Anyway, it doesn't have to be a city planning commission or a county planning commission. It can be a regional planning commission where both parties are at the table discussing those things in that area. I mean, there's options. It's not an us or them thing. It never should have been. No. We as a board represent 100% of the citizens in Burleigh County. 100%. The city of Bismarck represents a smaller percentage of the citizens, but they're trying to control land where those people do not have the same representation. When Heidi calls, she doesn't get any response from the city. She couldn't even get people's numbers, right? So this, I think, is a good place to start because really, I think we can put this issue behind us and we can really work together moving forward for the benefit of Burleigh County citizens, 100%.
And at the end of the day, we're facilitating development for the city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's part of our job with staff. So begs the question, what's the problem?
Yeah.
It really
well,
does.
You remember I asked the question, what are you
really
afraid
does.
of? I don't know what they...
When you're looking at the zoning ordinances and everything else, and they almost mirror each other with respect of if you're in the ETA versus you're out of the ETA, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the most part, that's it.
Yeah, and that's by plan. I mean, that was, like I said, years ago before the county had their thing, it was necessary to have ordinances that were the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the problem. People aren't complaining about that. But if they want to change from a 2,400 square foot limitation on an outbuilding, which, by the way, I've stayed on the City Planning and Zoning Commission specifically so I can vote for and support those citizens out in the ETA that want a larger building than that they're allowed to have, so that when they apply for a special use permit, because nowadays we have bigger campers, bigger boats, we got snow removal equipment, lawnmowers. I mean, I think I have probably 5 lawnmowers, you know? Well, 2,400 square foot wouldn't do anything for me. And I think people should be able to protect their property. They got a significant investment. You probably know more about the value of campers than I do, but I am certain that I've seen some really valuable campers and boats. And I mean, I used to just freak out when storms, you know, a hailstorm would come rolling in and my boat was parked outside. I'd like, and so, anyway, I don't know if we need a motion or consensus or.
I think we've got a
I
consensus.
think we can take this map to the next meeting and say, here's what we're thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah. You
That'll
guys
be
all,
tomorrow night.
correct.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
4:00.
Marcus, you comfortable?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. That's what I needed, a better idea of where you guys stand on this particular issue and the direction on moving forward. So I will definitely work with staff to try to set up a meeting with the city and county and try to get some type of mutually agreed to kind of thing that we can bring back to the boards and have at the next joint meeting too. So
Okay,
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
was our map provided? I looked
Yeah, I
at it earlier in
sent
the week,
it.
but I couldn't get into the link for the city's agenda for that.
Yeah, I don't know if
Do
it's
they
on the
have that on
agenda.
the
I don't know
agenda?
if it's on the agenda
Okay, can you
packet or
bring
not.
copies
We'll bring,
for-
we'll bring
for-
copies,
thank
so
you.
yeah. So,
Thanks,
thank you.
Marcus.
There's a meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's just a regular,
Not the
yeah,
full
not the
commission,
full.
not the full
It's the city county committee.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a pretty good beat up on the ETA discussion.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Commissioners, Commissioner Woodcock.
If this does go through the way the city is proposing, we have to hire 3 more employees. If we do our way, is the city gonna release 3 the 3 of their employees?
Oh, they should, because their
They should.
workload, yeah, their workload would
Because they're
totally
working on our
decrease.
area, or
Yeah.
the ETA, and
Yeah.
if they don't have it anymore, they
Mm-hmm.
should release 3.
Yeah, it would be a win for them.
Yeah.
The City Recreation Agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Munson.
tomorrow's meeting is 4 or 5?
4, right? Yeah, 4.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Okay, just wanted to make sure in case there's residents that want to come to that meeting tomorrow at
And please
4.
do, again, this is opportunity for residents to speak up and have input.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Woodcock.
Heidi, if you want to come again, feel free.
I got a couple of the large maps from our planning department, their proposal and our proposal. I'm gonna leave them laying here because I've got a couple of extras. Anybody wants to come up and look at it, or they're more than welcome to look at it. You can see it right away.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Woodcock, I appreciate that. City Recreation Agreement.
Mr. Chair, this is another item you had asked to bring forward to this meeting. I put in your packet the agenda item from 2023 when we discussed it at that point. Also, again, my notes from this weekend. This is a mill levy that has been charged or on the county rolls since 1998 through a joint powers agreement between the city and of the Park District and the county. It is a mill that is charged to city residents only, and it is used for the benefit of the park districts along the riverfront. We have that JPA that was re-signed in 14, and from my understanding, the position of most of the commissioners here, this is not something that you want. And if that's something you don't want, we need to give the Park District a 1-year notice. Personally, I like the process. I have no issue with it. I know the money is being well spent on those Park District properties along the river. But with that, I'll leave it up to you folks. We do have members from the Park District as well as a commissioner from the Park District here if you have questions for them.
Does anybody have any concerns or questions or anything?
I guess my biggest question is, what's the definition of riverfront improvements? You know, we're seeing in city limits a boat ramp being removed.
Right.
Where I don't see any development for direct waterfront improvements. That was something that I was pushing for in a previous life very hard. Show me where that money's going. I don't see
That's
those
my-
improvements.
That's my problem. I want to know where the money is going. Every one of these entities that's receiving this money is their own taxing entity. And they can certainly tax the citizens the same as us. I think this is almost like a hidden tax within our budget. I just think it's outlived its usefulness. I know it started back when we had that, I think it's Sibley Island,
Park.
Commissioner Schwab.
Yep.
Started back when Garrison Diversion started. And that's exactly what it is.
Long before then.
In the same decade.
Well, and there's a couple city commissioners I've heard say, you know, what's the benefit of Burleigh County? It's like, here's a tax that is on the backs of city residents within Burleigh County. I don't see the benefit. I don't. You know,
Well, we have
hey,
a couple-
can we use
have a
the
couple here that-
15% towards some of the asphalt mitigation?
Yeah.
You know,
We have a couple of people here from the park board. Do they want to defend themselves, so to speak?
Yeah, and I know back in 13, when this conversation came up, I had the Park District give a very detailed record of the past, I don't remember how many years of exactly where all that money was spent. And they were very clear with all of that. I didn't put it together for this meeting, because again, I believe we're lopsided on the belief of how this project should go.
And again, maybe it's as simple as coming back to the definition of riverfront improvements. I mean, I'm
Right.
thinking public marinas and facilities to access the water, not, here's a park, it's water adjacent, look at the pretty river.
At 0.65 of a mil, that's gonna take a long
Well,
time.
But
Well, the point is,
again,
I'm
here's
not
the park,
seeing it.
there's the river,
Yep.
you can look at it, great.
Yep.
And I think with respect to county parks, we also pay the park board, city park board to maintain.
We hire them, yes. They are a
vendor.
So I
Vendor.
don't
They're a
recall
vendor.
seeing any of that reflected in those bills or in those compensation amounts.
for,
Any of them.
I guess I don't understand the question.
Okay, if there's a percentage of any money that's supposed to go towards county parks, how's that accounted for?
Back in when this JPA was created,
That's not
there
what
was.
I'm talking about today.
Okay,
Well,
but the money here is for just riverfront properties, not county park districts. The 0.65% of a mill is for improvements, again, tax to the, it's levied to the city residents for improvements to the city parks. At one point, this used to be a full mill, and the remainder was allocated to the park districts. And I think,
Oh,
Commissioner
and
Bittner,
there's-
you said it right a few years ago, that we didn't want to continue taxing it that way because we had our own park district and we
Yeah.
were collecting our own fees for that.
Right. I think with respect to that, it just makes sense to me that if it's a city park, it's under city parks and recs in their budget. If it's the same thing applies to the bookmobile. If it's going to the schools, it should be in schools' budgets. If it's going to the senior centers, it should be under the senior center's budget. I'm not opposed to spending the money on something, because quite frankly, I think Bismarck Parks and Recs does a really good job.
They do a great job.
But that's not the point. It's a question of why are we collecting the tax
For,
an entity that has its own taxing authority?
and I wish we were all here in '98 when it all started, but I don't have those answers. I don't have that history.
Yeah.
I don't recall it. And I'll go to Commissioner Schwab's point, in 1998, they set a precedent in place that affects future commissions. So I understand that side of it. What I do like is that this money is being spent at the city parks, and it is only levied to the city residents.
Sure, which it would stay the same, whether it's the park district or the county levying it, and I think that.
Fortunately
it's just
now with
outlived its-
with the new tax and the 3%, we're not going to be able to do that, or the park district is not going to be able to do that in the future.
Well, that's not, that's an issue between them and the state legislature, just like we're gonna have to work with the state
Right.
legislature for our problem,
Right.
so. And I think that's gonna be a big group no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think everybody is feeling that particular pain, not
Yep.
just us and not just them, so. Is there a
Commissioner
motion in
Schwab-
here somewhere?
Commissioner Schwab has
Commissioner
his hand
Schwab.
up.
Well, there's one other thing I want to bring up on this park board doing this stuff. When you do the bills, you find out that if the park board has done something for $1,000 out at an extension, they put on a 25% administration fee. If it's new project or building or whatever, it's 5%. I kind of think that is 25%. I wish I could make that kind of money in everything I ever did. That's over and above cost. It's an administrative fee. In other words, a gouge, as far as I'm concerned.
Overhead.
Overhead.
Yep.
What overhead do they have?
Mark was getting up. Do you want to address?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Mark Zimmerman, currently a member of the Bismarck Board of Park Commissioners, currently serving as the president of the Park Board. We've had this discussion. I've had this discussion with our executive director, Kevin Klipfel. Commissioners have discussed it as well. And our position, at least, is that, yes, this is, as Chairman Bittner stated, this is a tax levied by the county, payable only by the residents of Bismarck for riverfront development. And consideration that, as you have said with the ETA discussion, that you represent the whole, every citizen of the whole county. And to that extent, the Park District riverfront development is for all the citizens, just not just not a Bismarck or Burleigh County, but of course everybody who uses the parks, the trails along the river for riverfront development, the boat ramps within the city limits, which are perhaps the most popular boat ramps, the parking lots in those boat ramp areas, all of those amenities within and along the river that are used. You know, I have advocated in the past, just Zimmerman as a park commissioner, I could go to a park, I can go to the splash pad, I can go to many facilities that are used by county residents as well as city residents, which I am a member of, resident of Burleigh County as well. I, as a citizen of Bismarck, pay part of my property tax goes for operation of Park District. Citizens of Burleigh County outside the city of Bismarck enjoy all of our park amenities and pay no property tax. Our commission has steadfastly said we are in no way going to say, if you're from outside the city of Bismarck, you pay more to play around the golf. You pay more to come to a pool. Our thought is this is a cooperative effort here. This is, I think it's about $315,000 for riverfront improvement, riverfront development. I do not have that list of all of those dollars spent in all of those areas along the riverfront development. But I can tell you in my 12 years on the park board, that's money well spent for everyone to use. So I'll stand for any questions, but again, I think it's a way here that from '98 that this was a way that, you know, everybody was paying within the city of Bismarck, and address that the county commission represents the whole county. I don't know if I'm making sense there or not.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yeah, a little bit. So Mark, one of my questions is definition of riverfront development improvements, because when I'm looking at riverfront development, it's not the fact that there's a trail that runs along the river, which greatly appreciate, I use a great deal, but accessibility. And we've seen a boat ramp coming out. I've not seen a plan to readdress that. No public marinas, no access points at where, those are my definition of waterfront improvements, of riverfront improvements, is the accessibility side of things. So what's the plan for that? Because I haven't seen that.
Okay, I can, in our most recent meeting with the Riverfront Commons, or that definition or name of that area along the river, with the elimination of the boat ramp at Meriwether's, the city has had some preliminary discussion with the Park District. Where could that next boat ramp be? I have no idea. But I would say, Commissioner Bakken, I think riverfront development, riverfront access, we have that in the trails along the park. I use the trails. There are kids, there's families all along the river, from the trail, from the parking lots, down to the river. All along from Meriwether Boat Ramp, all the way down that trail through Sertoma Park, through Pioneer Park. They have access to the river. Granted, it's just shore fishing. It's sitting on the beach.
Okay, but I also, I'm on my boat all summer long and driving by and going, in current, and there's little kids swimming here. Wow, that's going to be a problem someday. I can see that happening. It just hasn't happened yet. So when we're looking at the accessibility, it's about safe accessibility. It's about having safe beaches, having public marinas so we can attract people here. I don't see any of that development. I just don't. And then a boat ramp one way.
Well,
Commissioner Bakken, if I may answer, Chairman?
No, actually, you may not. We're kind of getting off the track. We're not really discussing why don't we have a boat ramp and why don't we have.
But it's an example of.
It's a good example.
Again, it comes back to what the definition is.
Yeah. The question really is, should the county be taxing for city parks and then just handing that money over to city parks when city parks has their own taxable mill levy authority? I think it's a hidden tax. That's my issue with it. I don't have a problem with parks and recs at all. I don't live in town. I don't use any of the facilities. So I don't have a dog in the hunt myself. I just think that in all cases in Burleigh County, the taxes that we levy should be levied by the authority that is actually using those, that's doing that. You know, like I said, if it's the bookmobile and it's going to schools, then the schools should be paying for it, because it's still the county citizens. But that's accountability, so that when they're voting for people like Commissioner Zimmerman, and they're worried about the cost of services or anything else, then they're looking at Mr. Zimmerman and not Mr. Munson over here. That's just my position.
Well, and just to be fair, I mean, some of this does go to county-wide, but I live in the city, and I pay park board taxes.
But how does it go county-wide?
No,
This doesn't
It
does
anymore.
not, see.
See,
That's old.
The original JPA.
The original.
The original JPA for 100% of the 1 mil. But currently, we're at .625 only.
Right, so it's not going.
And-
And so, Commissioner Schwab.
I want to clear up a little thing here. We were just kind of told that the city never refuses to let people from out of city limits use parks. And I understand that. But the way it was stated, it was kind of like, we don't reciprocate. I mean, like McDowell Dam, that's county, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've never turned them away and said, you can't come in here because you're from the city. So to phrase things like that and say, well, you know, this is what you're doing and insinuating on the other side behind the scenes that we're doing, that is not true.
Right.
We represent everybody, including the people in Bismarck.
Right. Anybody can go to a county park or a county boat ramp or a county,
Yep.
whatever. And think interestingly enough, isn't it Bismarck Parks and Recs that manages McDowell Dam for us
Correct.
for a fee?
Yep.
Yeah. So we don't get anything for free. But that's not the point. The point really is, do we need to be taxing city residents under the county umbrella for something that is more legitimate as a Bismarck Park Board mill levy?
I don't think so.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Woodcock.
it'd be interesting to go back in 1998 and find out what was the reasoning in allowing the county to tax just the city and use it for park affairs. What do you want to call it? Riverfront. It says riverfront development or riverfront facilities. But how in the world did they get that through?
I don't know.
That the county would tax only the city for something that's in the riverfront of the city.
I've asked for the history, and we've speculated on the history. There was something to do with Sibley Park, but nobody really remembers. So,
Too much
Yeah,
water
well,
under that bridge. Commissioners, what do you want to do here?
All that does is make the county, the tax collector, the IRS of Burleigh County for everybody, and they don't have to show it on their side of the statements.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes us look like, hey,
Yep.
you got garrison diversion, you got parks, water resource, soil conservation, and we tax for all of them. And that needs to be very clear and understood. And we're forced to, and we need to quit that.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
I have a motion to quit that. I have a second.
We do?
That's his motion.
You want to, I didn't catch that when he hit the table. I didn't know that was a yes.
That's a motion. Motion to discontinue that agreement.
Second for discussion.
Second for discussion. Okay.
So, again, for me, this comes back to the definition of what does riverfront improvement means. And without the accessibility to the river, to me, that's not riverfront improvement. It's like I can stand on the rooftop of the state capitol and look at the river. I can be at a park and look at the river. I can be at my house and stand on the roof and look at the river. I mean, it's the accessibility to me, and that's where I've got a hang up on. I don't see it. I just don't see the accessibility as part of this for the waterfront. I just don't.
So my question would be, when this went from a full mill to a .625 mills, which items of these four are we taxing for?
Valid.
So of these, again, of these four items, which item are we not taxing for anymore? And I don't have that information either. But I know.
And what's it look like with Sibley? You know, Sibley's the one that pops into my head is what does that management looks like?
Right. And so, like I said, whatever happened in '98 or whatever happened when this went from a full mill to a .625, which pieces and part in here are we no longer doing? I know for a fact that the operations and improvements at Sibley Park are continuous. I know that the security and the maintenance, the law enforcement of what they're doing along the riverfront is in force at all times. The operation and improvement of the facilities, they're constantly planting trees and taking down trees, and so what are they not doing?
Where's the 15% of the mill shall be used for the operation and improvement of county riverfront facilities? If the city of Bismarck is in Burleigh County,
That's part of Burleigh County
right,
riverfront property.
Right.
So what does that breakdown look like?
Right, and that's what I can't answer because I don't have the history. I mean, 2 years ago, when we brought this in front of the group, we were very specific and gave you line item by line item of every dollar that was spent every year for the past X amount of years. But the way this reads, and you talk about the riverfront development, was that the part that was taken out? I don't know. I don't know. I think it gets back to more of a conversation of what Commissioner Bittner is talking about. Should the county be taxing city residents for a city park program? Personally, I don't have an issue with that, but that's just personally. This commission has to decide what they want to do. Any opportunity, and I know I've taken a lot of grief from Commissioner Schwab, any opportunity I get a chance to improve a park, I'm going to do it. People move here to get a job. People stay here because of what we offer them in amenities. In my world, parks are one of them. And any opportunity we can have to keep those people here, if it is 0.625 of a mil that helps in that process, I'm all for it.
I hear you, but that seems to me that you got no bottom to the amount of money you're willing to spend to do that. And that's a concern I have. In this case, to me, it's only about the entity that's collecting a tax. And it doesn't matter that it just so happens that we're talking about parks here, and I think I've made it very clear, I don't have any issues with parks.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, your statement is the one that really we need to talk about is,
Yeah,
should county be collecting for the parks?
Right, and I don't think that's our job. You know, I think especially moving forward now with the limitations on all political subdivisions and taxing entities, we don't need to carry water for another department. You know, they'll have their own issues at the legislature as we will. And it just so happens ours are pretty big, and ours are a little more convoluted with sales tax, and that's a benefit. But, you know, there's going to be issues. I just don't need to carry water for somebody else. That's all. We got enough of our own issues here. Any further discussion?
Funding over to Garrison Diversion.
Well, that's another one I think that we should, I think we should just cancel that one too, see what happens.
Well, the park board wouldn't get money for its swing sets.
They'd still get money for their swing sets. Only it's limited at 50,000.
50,000.
Since we put in 700 and whatever thousand, it's still limited to 50,000.
A lot of swing sets.
Yeah. Call the roll.
Can I have repeated the motion?
The motion is to notify the city that we will be we will no longer be levying the parks, city recreational portion of the taxes. Is that correct?
I think terminating the JPA is a more.
Yep.
We don't mean to put words in your mouth as the motion, but
that's what we
No,
do.
I said we quit. We quit doing that.
Well,
Okay.
give notice.
Yeah,
So many words.
Well, we had to muddy that up by adding language, huh?
No, I'm not conventional, you know that.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Munson,
Absolutely no.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab,
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox.
No.
Chairman Bittner.
Yes, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, State's Attorney Lawyer, investigator salary variance request and opioid litigation. That this may require we enter into executive session, and I have a couple other items under other business before we do that. So if we're going to do that, I need to do a couple other things first, okay?
So the first agenda item I have is a request for a salary variance for our successful investigator candidate. I did provide you all with his resume, which is not a public record at this point since he's merely a candidate and not an employee. And so, so you can see he's got extensive experience. He's got 13 years of additional investigatory experience than the minimum qualifications that we require. Keeping in mind that this grade that we have our investigators in is the same grade for sheriff's deputies. We require a 4-year degree plus 5 years of investigative experience. The sheriff's deputy position requires an associate's degree or 2 years of experience or 3 years of military experience along those lines. And so our basic qualifications are more than what a sheriff's deputy is required to have, and so generally we will be starting out with asking for, or starting them out at a higher rate of pay than a starting deputy. But in this case, as you can see, he does have a lot of significant law enforcement experience, to include doing investigations into drug and violent crime offenses. And so with his level of experience, we're asking for a variance to start him at step 9.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries. I want to get
Do the
into a
other
couple of other
business,
things under other business. Earlier, I handed off some information to Marcus. This was information.
Yes, Commissioners, this is information, or we typically call it an SOV, solicitation of views kind of information from the federal government. They were just informing us the Bureau of Land Management is going to be revising their current North Dakota Resource Management Plan. And they give us basically three options as far as our involvement. How much do we want to be involved in such a thing? And number one, the first option is, do we want to be basically a partner with them in that? And if we had a statewide interest, then I think a partner with them on this particular thing would be a wise thing to do. The second option is to, we're not necessarily desire to be a partner with you on this, but we would like to be included in all mailings that go out, public hearings. We want to know about that information, any kind of documentation, draft documents that come out. I think that's probably the one where we want to be. And the third option is basically, thank you, but we don't want to be involved in any way. So my recommendation is go with the second option. If you choose to do that, I'll check that box. I'll have the auditor fill out the additional information, and we'll get that mailed off.
Move to approve. Second option.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank
Thank you, Marcus. There was a letter certified mail from the City of Bismarck Community Development Department that has received a petition from a landowner to annex lands into the City of Bismarck. And it has a description that's up in the Boulder Ridge area. Includes, tract includes 19.89 acres. And they're notifying us just for information purposes, and if we have any questions or need any additional information. If anybody needs any additional information, I'm just letting you know this letter came in. I'll hand it off to the auditor. I'm not aware of any reason that we would have a concern with annexation of a commercial property there. Next thing, North Dakota State Fair. Did we appoint some delegates to the North Dakota State Fair already?
You are.
Not me, no. I know I didn't.
I beat you to the punch.
No, I appreciate the thought, but it's not me, because I don't know if during the budget discussions, I thought we had some kind of conversation
Mr.
about
Chairman,
I think we.
Commissioner
in the
Woodcock.
past, the Extension Service has, they've sent a couple people up there already, and we used one of those as our representative, I think.
Okay. Basically, so what we would ask is for the auditor to submit names and addresses of our appointed delegates to them in writing by October 24th. So I thought we already discussed that, and I think that, for example, I think the recorder was one of the volunteers.
That was for the October.
Yep, that was
Association
for
of Counties.
Association of Counties.
Oh, I see, okay. So I'm mixing up the two.
They request 2 typically for the 4-H.
We discussed it last year. For this, they need 2 for the state fair.
Yeah, it's the State Fair Association's annual meeting. As a county, you are responsible to appoint 2 delegates.
When's the annual meeting?
The annual meeting is November 18th, 2025. It's to be held at the FFA Hall of the State Fair Center, Minot, at 1 p.m. And I think they just need to be a resident. These delegates must reside in your county. But it's got to be done by October 24th.
I would check with the extension, because I think that's what we've done several times.
Well, I would ask the auditor who we did last year, who we submitted.
I believe in years past, I believe Commissioner Bakken was was the delegate 1 year, and I believe also Tyler Krolichek maybe have been one as well from extension.
I'd be willing to do it again if,
Go right ahead.
if we want to reach out to Tyler and see if,
Yeah, reach out to Extension
or
Services.
extensions, yeah, find out.
Okay, and then I'll just leave that letter in the pile for the auditor as well. Thank you, Commissioners. Then one other thing that I have, let's see, Extension Bureau, State Fair. And then FEMA, I have a letter from FEMA that's in regards to a community assistance visit. And I just thought it was important to read the highlights of it. It says, "Dear Mr. Bittner, on behalf of FEMA Region 8's Floodplain Management and Insurance Branch, I would like to thank Burleigh County staff for hosting us during the community assistant visit on August 12th and August 13th, 2025. It was a pleasure to meet Mitch Flanagan to discuss Burleigh County's ongoing efforts in floodplain management, particularly as the county works toward entering the Community Rating System program. We appreciate the time and effort your team dedicated to this process, as well as the professionalism with which Mitch Flanagan shared the community's goals and challenges. These discussions were instrumental in identifying areas that require attention to enhance the community's resilience and safety." Then it goes on to say they value the partnership and sincerely. And I wanted to point out, and we'll put give Mitch a copy of this letter, because I just wanted to point out the fact and recognize the fact that FEMA was offering some good feedback to staff. And I want to thank Mitch for his involvement with that. Commissioners, do you have anything else under other business before I turn it back over to Julie? Okay, Commissioner Schwab.
I have, let's put it this way, I'll be honest. I don't think the fairground is doing well out there. And I would like to start a fairground board nonprofit. I need to move that extension out of that building. We paid on that building this month, I look at these bills, $5,675. That's crazy. Comes out to $68,000 a year and whatever else they can tack on. And when I say tack on, the east side, the south side of that building, if they have a wedding scheduled, 4-H can't use it, but I believe we're paying rent for it, and they're renting it out twice. So, I'm going to tell you a short story. It's true. I helped handle an estate for the fella. Happened to be my brother. Now, he didn't die, but he was handling an estate, and it kind of got out of hand. Anyway, this couple, the guy died, the gal died, no family, no kids. And when the estate was done, the Bismarck Public School Foundation got $1.8 million because they had no place to put it. Where do you give it? And we're not set up for that, so I would like to start a foundation out there. And if this other stuff doesn't go, the reason why you got them books, if you read about Ramsey County, they can put up an arena for $3.6 million. They got a $1 million kicker from the county. That county is 11,500 people. And they can get an arena up, and we're talking 30 million, 26 million on the last deal with the same architect, the same deal. So I would like to put that together and move the 4-H up there.
Up where? Up where?
Up in that 50 acres.
Oh, build
As a
building
matter
there.
of fact, up in Ramsey County, it is running, its extension that actually does the booking on the arena. If you go to the website, Ramsey County Fairgrounds, they will tell you how it's run, and they'll even send you to a link on Facebook. But I'm dead serious about this. It's about time that we get this 501c going and quit fooling around out there, sell the place.
I do believe the 501c3 is already in process.
It is.
You have to have it done right, and that means you need a fairground association, not a committee. Everybody uses an association. That you may be able to use a committee, but that isn't the way to do it. You have the committee, and the funds would go to the county, and the county would invest them. Which brings up one other thing. When we had this vote a while back, well, I guess I can't bring it up. I was on a losing side.
I think you can bring it up.
I think we can talk about it, I just don't think we should take an action.
Can't what?
Can't take another action, but we can
No,
talk
but
about it.
I want to tell you that when we had that vote on the public funds are going to be used for utilities, and I went back and read everything, well, it's utilities, parking lots, underground, the whole ball of wax. There is enough money. If this story about the Ramsey deal, there's enough money there, at 5-point-some million, you get going and get a few contributions, no reason why you guys aren't building yet. I really believe that. And I mean, proof it's there. Guys, all you got to do is drive up there. That is exactly what you guys want. 4-H is up there.
I think Commissioner Baca wants to add on to your conversation there, Lowell.
So part of my thought process is we do the facility out there correctly, and it's going to give us flexibility and opportunity for offsetting the costs for some of these other entities with what we want to do with the horse facility. But that's going to give us an opportunity to move other agencies out there, including the extension, the 4-H, a few other ones that I don't wish to mention right now. But we're going to have a lot of conservation of scale. So there's an opportunity to do that.
Yep.
That being said, some of these moving parts can't happen until we're finished with the Provident building.
Yep, and I realize that, but we can start the foundation and the association and get it done right. And by the way, there's 9 members on their association up there, Fairground Association. I think I'm going to drive up and take a look at it because nobody else seems too interested. Maybe we just get their blueprint and we don't have to pay this guy that's doing it now. That the last one, I had to collect money back because he didn't give us what we wanted. So got the same guy out there, we'll make it $30,000 so they get, what, 5% minimum?
30 million, yeah.
And this is 3.6 million. Oh, by the way, with a big kitchen.
There
See?
you go.
So tell me it can't be done is, and the reason I'm not trying to step on Commissioner Munson's toes here, I probably am. That's why I got extension, and I have a vested interest in getting this done too. But we said that we were not going to use taxpayers' money, and all of a sudden we are, and I didn't like that. It's kind of, the deal is everybody thinks the money in the fairground account isn't public money. The hell it isn't.
It's public.
Okay, then you have the public money to do utilities. Start. What you should have been doing is like I told you, and I would like to meet with your committee. I can give them direction. Chair Bittner can. You still haven't drilled out there.
No, we're still waiting for the final wetlands right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wetland.
you're on top of the hill though.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's called
but-
delineation.
Well, whatever.
The other thing with this though is if it's not done as a comprehensive plan
For the whole complex.
for the whole complex, then you're gonna wind up with scattershot, sticking a piece here, sticking a piece here, and the whole thing's not gonna operate like it should properly operate and generate the revenue to take the burden off the taxpayers as it should. So that is my concern, and we're at the wetland delineation process right now. And until that's done, nothing can get done because you can't put a comprehensive plan together.
What do the hills have to do with it, though, if you're on top of a hill?
You realize after the city of Bismarck signed the FEMA flood map that North Bismarck, there's flood area, right?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Floods
So-
south of Bismarck.
So it doesn't matter if you're on top of a hill or not.
It floods Airway Avenue, and it comes from north.
Yeah. So it's the wetland delineation process right now, so can figure out what's workable, and then it's putting the puzzle together, putting the right pieces in the right places for the benefit of everybody in Burleigh County. That's,
We should have that report in 2 weeks at the Missouri Valley Complex Committee.
yeah. Let me know, because I'd like to
Is
attend
the
that one.
latest meeting of that Missouri Valley Complex Committee on the website?
It is not on the Burleigh County website, but it is on, who's carrying this broadcast?
Dakota Media
Dakota
Access.
Media Access. All of our meetings are on Dakota Media Access. Just like the Burleigh County Commission meetings. They're all on.
Do you know if the Burleigh County Commission meetings are on the website too? I think they are.
Don't know that.
Yeah.
When
Might
do
be a
you
link,
meet?
I'm just curious.
Our next meeting will be 15th at noon. Next Wednesday, the 15th.
Okay, anything else for other business?
Yes,
Then we're gonna move back, okay. Commissioner Buckett.
Anybody from Summit Carbon Solutions here? Okay, no.
Okay.
You want to be the legal representative of Summit?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Actually, they closed
I'm
their
gonna go
business
back
office, so-
to Julie. We're gonna have to see what she's got to say. Thank you, staff. You can go ahead and go.
I think you have to adjourn this
So-
meeting, clear the room for an executive session.
If you want to enter executive session,
Okay.
you don't necessarily need to. I provided you all the information. I'm just going to put on the record what information I provided you. If you have any questions about that or what it means to settle or negotiations you want to enter into, that would be an executive session. But basically, I did give you a copy of the settlement overview. These are the secondary manufacturers of the opioids that caused all the crisis. And so the money that we're getting from this litigation is for remediation purposes, as you all know. So that's just kind of a little bit of a background for anybody listening. Again, I did give you that secondary manufacturers overview, which is involving 8 secondary manufacturers, and then it's got an outline of what their proposal is to pay over immediately or over the next 7 to 10 years, I believe it is, depending on which one it is. And so I kind of outlined what that would mean for Burleigh County, and so the question is whether you want to opt in. The recommendation is to opt in. And if you have any specific questions
Mr.
about
Chairman?
that, then we should enter into.
Commissioner
Does this have anything to do with the other opioid?
Correct. There are
Is
multiple.
this in addition to what we've already received?
Correct.
Correct.
And
Good.
so there are multiple different
Good.
entities that are being sued in this case, and so they have different settlements for the different categories, and this is just the last one. So the one we
motion-
talked about at the last meeting, that was a totally separate settlement. This is for the secondary manufacturers and applies just to those 7 entities.
Any amount that
Oh, the percentages were really weird to figure out.
They are weird to figure out, but this settlement would be up to approximately $71,847 to Burleigh County for remediation purposes. And then there's some
Each year
additional
or-
things
or-
too. No, total,
One
in
time.
total.
So 7,000 a year over a 10-year period or whatever?
Some of them have to pay immediately. It's all in that
Okay.
overview.
So then
But
there's,
the bottom line
there's
is-
also a product consideration.
Correct.
And that would, I would assume, automatically go to Bismarck Burleigh Public Health.
Well, we have to decide what we're doing with that, and I don't know that there's been a plan that, and that needs to be discussed as to what is gonna be done with the money.
Okay. Well, I wasn't talking about the money, I was talking about the
No, I
product.
understand that
Okay.
too. You'd have to decide what happens with that, because Burleigh County would get that portion, and then it has to be used as the plan that you come up with.
For
filed with the
mitigation,
state.
yeah.
Yes, for remediation and mitigation, yes.
Okay, so what we need is a motion to agree to,
Either
Opt
opt
in.
in or not.
Move to approve, to
Second.
accept the settlement.
Second.
it's good. That's what you need.
Yes, unless you have anything else.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Schwab?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodcox?
Abstain.
You
I'm
can't
not sure what
abstain.
we're doing.
The motion is to opt into the settlement and accept
To
it.
accept the
Oh,
settlement.
the secondary
dollars.
settlement.
I'll say yes.
Commissioner Munson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken?
Yes.
Chairman Bittner?
Yes, motion carries.
All right, I'll get the paperwork done then.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of Burleigh County? We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.